This is a really spontaneous random stream. Yes, and a matter of fact, I have about 2 hours or so of reading time. So we're gonna read. So I hope you guys are ready. I know you guys fucking hate me right now. Sorry, I'm already swearing like 15 seconds into the video. I know you guys hate me for all these random streams, but yeah, we're gonna read until 13:08. I was considering, no, if you guys are awake, you can't sleep now, man. I hear this is a banger arc. Let me let my dog out and then let's read. Chapter 1300 is called, as I do my timestamps, 0 minutes and 40 seconds. It's called The Fourth Person. All right, new chapter. Bernadette. Oh, you're right. Wow, it's been like 3 days since I've read this. We're with Bernadette. So we're doing the whole Gustav comes back arc. I see what's going on. I see why. Oh man, I see why people are gonna be mad that I didn't pre-notify. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. If you guys want to message people on Discord or on the Reddit or on the YouTubes, you let them know. I feel really bad now. Woo! The Fourth Person. Bernadette stared at the outline for a long time until it gradually became clearer as the dawn approached. It was silhouette of a large island. On the island, there was a huge... Oh, shit. This was last minute as fuck, man. I know. Make the song I played for Wiz here got blocked in some countries, so you can't use it? Okay. Ooh, really? It got blocked. Okay, for sure. Bernadette stared at the outline for a long time until it gradually became clearer as the dawn approached. It was a silhouette of a large island. On the island, there was a huge, towering, dark green trees that almost bordered on black, covering the ground of the mountain. Although Bernadette couldn't be sure that this was in the primitive island that her father had once visited, her intuition as a clairvoyant told her that this was likely the place she was seeking. As the coastline entered her eyes, she pursed her lips and lowered her head. She chanted an honorific name. The fool... Oh, she's praying for help. The fool that doesn't belong to this era, the mysterious ruler above the great fog, the king of yellow and black who wields good luck. Right on the heels of that, Queen Mystic Bernadette raised her hand and made the crewless dawn stop in nearby waters without approaching the shore. At the same time, the sound of pianos, violins, cellos, flutes, and other musical instruments interweaved together into a lively tune. As the music echoed, toast, steak, mashed potatoes, fried mushrooms, and other dishes on a plate jumped one after another and returned to the oven amidst a dance or threw themselves into the trash can. The red wine bottle, white dining clothes, and other items had all returned to the original positions. They either sealed themselves with wooden croaks or kept folding themselves neatly. Then Bernadette gently threw out a bright and unrealistic ball of yarn with her right hand. Is the ball of yarn like a mystical item? The ball rolled into the void, leaving a thread behind. Bernadette followed it, strolled it through the spur world before arriving at the border of the nameless island. This Queen Mystic wasn't in a rush to heap over. She reached for her plausible existence of the Black Emperor Mausoleum. As she cautiously made her sea-like blue eyes turn dark and deep, she temporarily lost focus as though she was prying into the secrets of the River of Fate. A few seconds later, Bernadette's eyes returned to normal and she subconsciously looked up into the sky. She felt that she was being watched by certain existence. Of course, this was something she had expected as she was taking the initiative to recite Mr. Fool's honorific name. Above the great fog in the ancient palace, Klein accommodated the Fool's card, draped himself with a curtain, and held the staff of stars. He was checking the situation on the island through Queen Mystic's prayer light. In his true vision's field, the island was shrouded in a thin layer of distorted blackness. It made it impossible for him to see the situation inside directly. He could only obtain Bernadette's point of view. Even if not the primitive island that Emperor Rizal discovered, this place isn't simple. Klein nodded indiscriminately as he waited for Queen Mystic to do a deeper exploration. Bernadette didn't use the ball of yarn anymore because she had a premonition that she was going to lead herself into a dangerous abyss that she had no way of fending off. She took out an illusory hat and wore it. Her captain-looking figure disappeared, her existence concealed. This was also one of the fairy tale magics that stemmed from a mystical reenactment. At its core was a hat that made one invisible. What, the cat, like, what is this supposed to be, Cat in the Hat? Then Bernadette followed a path that appeared to have been opened up by humans and entered the forest considering of huge trees. There were no birds chirping, no wild beast roars, no disturbance caused by crawling insects. It was so peaceful, times had frozen, so dead that there was no sign of life. According to Bernadette's understanding, there should be many supernatural beings that had already gone extinct in the outside world. Normally, it would be quite lively, but now she felt as if she was walking through the uninhabited cemetery. Every giant tree was a tombstone. Even if we're of any of the Beyonders with weaker minds, they would definitely feel tense, burdened with a heavy pressure. They would slowly approach the edge of losing control. However, Bernadette's expression didn't change at all, as though it was already used to proceeding through danger and strangers. After walking for nearly an hour, after half an hour, she still hadn't seen any living things or even sensed the wind. What the fuck? The whole island is dead. Suddenly, her vision opened up because the huge trees in front of her had become sparse. Bernadette didn't feel any joy. Instead, she slowed down and raised her hand to press it against her glabella. A pair of eyes that were without eyelashes appeared in front of her, looking cold and heartless. Then the pair of eyes of mystery prying was grabbed by invisible hands and placed on an invisible person's face. This was Bernadette's invisible servant. The invisible servant brought the eyes of mystery prying and quickly crossed the remaining path to the open forest. During this process, its vision gradually became clearer, as if it was no longer affected by the faint blackness in the air. Finally, the invisible servant arrived at the boundary of the open region and transmitted the situation to Bernadette through the eyes of mystery prying. Music change? Already? Wait, wrong one? Okay, just let me know when. No, you're good, you're good. Thank you, Kemi. Outside of the sparse forest, there was an empty space. There was countless creatures prostrating there. Ugh. They're all just prostrating on the ground. Among them were red dragons with skin flowing with flames. There were trents that had gnawed for eyes. Whoa, unknown. Holy shit, man, thank you. Super unannounced stream, by the way. Dude, holy shit, man, thank you. Yo, we got 5 new members, dude. Holy shit, man. Thank you. Look, German got one. Yo, what the fuck? Common W. Holy shit. Amongst them were red dragons. Dude, man, thank you guys as always. Holy shit, man. Super last minute stream, by the way. Thank you. Among them were red dragons with skin flowing with flames. There were trents that had large gnaws for eyes and hollows of the mouth. There were demonic wolves with 8 legs, giants with 4 long limbs, and feathered serpents with oily feathers, and scales with dark green shades, the latter cold there resembling small hills. There was also different kinds of creatures that looked like humans and wild beast hybrids. At this moment, they were all facing one direction. They had their upper bodies or heads prostrated as though they were worshipping an unknown existence. None of them made a sound. I'm sorry, what are they doing? Try this one, bet. There were even a few humans among them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When Bernadette counted a few humanoid creatures, her blue eyes suddenly widened. She had learned from Admiral Star's cat Leah that the primitive island, which her father had discovered, had a special type of corruption that allowed dead creatures to return here to the source regardless of where their corpses were. Amongst the knights who served Emperor Rizal, Grim... Oh shit, Grim! Wait, we haven't seen this name in a cool minute! Okay, wasn't Grim one of like his 4 horsemen? Grim was first to be killed because of this, followed by William and Polly. However, apart from the 3 of them, no one else was sacrificed in corresponding matters, and at that moment, there were 5 supernatural mutated creatures present. In addition to the 4 horsemen, I remember that. You see, I remember. In addition, Bernadette also knew that her father had eventually resolved the corruption problem and made the primitive island his secret base. Is this not the island? Queen Mystic examined the 5 humans through the eyes of mystery prying. They were dressed in opulent clothes from Rizal's era. Their faces were pale, their skin shriveled, and they looked more like zombies than humans. As the 5 of them were prostrating, Bernadette temporarily couldn't see their faces. She could only patiently wait for the praying to end. A few minutes later, those creatures straightened into their bodies and the entire forest came alive. Seizing this opportunity, Bernadette saw the 5 of them and compared them with her memories and the images she knew. Grim, he really is grim. This is a primitive island. That's Uncle William. I remember him. He taught me swordplay before. Uncle Polly. Oh, shit. When she recognized the 4th person, a look of astonishment could be seen on Bernadette's face. That person was Edwards. Wait, I don't remember Edwards. In Bernadette's memory, the knight had outlived her father's death. Then he migrated his family to Lemberg. He hadn't died on this primitive island. According to the information she received from Vice Admiral Iceberg Edwina, Edwards had lived for nearly 100 years. He died peacefully and was buried in a cemetery in the suburbs of Lemberg. Uncle Edwards had also returned to the island. Didn't he not experience any corruption and didn't die because of this? Thoughts flashed through Bernadette's mind one after another. As a result, the eyes of mystery prying of the invisible servant face kept staring at the human suspected to be Edwards. The gentleman had an old appearance and his hair was completely white. It was the same portrait of the ancestor in his advanced years, one that Edwina Edwards has shown her, and from his facial features and outline, Bernadette could tell what he looked like in his prime. At the time, Edward had been her equestrian teacher. Suddenly, the human who was suspected to be Edwards turned his head and gazed coldly at the invisible servant, Edward's ancestor and one of the horsemen. Edwina's ancestor and one of the horsemen. Oh, so Edward was the other horseman. Got it. Okay. Thank you. Oh shit, it's been a while since I've read. I remember like Grim just because the name stood out, but I didn't remember the other ones. Although Bernadette had inherited quite a bit of Emperor Roselle's inheritance, she definitely didn't rely on the items in advance to the point of the mysterious world. At that moment, she made a prominent decision, directly made the eyes of Mr. Prying vanish, allowing the invisible servant to return to the spirit world. Right on the heels of that, she quietly changed her position, and at the same time, above the great fog, Klein tapped the edge of the long model table and enhanced the probability of Bernadette not being discovered. When the person suspected to be Edwards retracted his blank gaze and walked to a different spot in the primitive forest with the surrounding creatures, Klein frowned slightly and muttered to himself, what kind of anomaly happened? He remembered the Emperor had already resolved the corruption of the cosmos on the primitive island when he was alive. However, these creatures were still worshipping an unknown existence, holding a mysterious ritual that was close to the earliest descriptions in the diary. I'm sorry. How you doing, man? How you doing, bro? After the Emperor's death, did a particular entity from the cosmos infiltrate this place again, or is it that they're worshipping some symbol left behind by the Emperor? I assume they're worshipping Roselle. Who are the other two? They look like Edwards and Benjamin Abraham. Okay. From the historical fragment, Klein, who had temporarily was unable to see what was being worshipped due to the faint black interference of the island, could only follow Bernadette's eyes to observe the surroundings. After a while, Bernadette, who was proficient in prophesying, finally confirmed that there was no living creature in the open space. She summoned the invisible servant again and gave it the eye of mystery prying. The invisible servant passed through the sparse area of the forest, an empty area, carefully arriving at the spot where the creatures had been worshipping. There was a huge rock, and on it was a simple bald made of dark red wood. The invisible servant circled halfway and arrived in front of the... I cannot pronounce this word. Baldachin? What is this? It is a ceremonial canopy of stone, metal, or fabric over an altar. Oh, okay, over the altar. It was empty inside. There was no statue, nor was there an emblem formed from symbols. So the creatures on the island were praying to someone that didn't seem to exist. Oh, shit. This chapter sounds hype. New fucking life, man. What the heck are we seeing? Chapter 1301 is called New Life. Through the eyes of mystery prying, Bernadette saw the interior of the dark red baldachin was empty. Nothing was there. All she could see were the shadows that usually shrouded things in reality. 53. Oh, man, we're so close. 50 chapters until the finale. She was unable to prophesize anything from it. Having no choice but to look away, she followed her intuition and made the invisible serpent walk towards the other end of the open area, which was also part of the primitive forest filled with towering trees. As the invisible serpent couldn't be too far away from her, she silently followed behind while wearing the invisible hat. She unhurriedly passed through the area while... Well, let me mute my phone one sec. She was unable to prophesize anything from it. Having no choice but to look away, she followed her intuition and made the invisible servant walk towards the other end of the open area, which was also part of the primitive forest filled with towering trees. As the invisible servant couldn't be too far away from her, she silently followed behind while wearing an invisible hat. She unhurriedly passed through the area where all the creatures of the island were gathered. Here, the sky seemed to be protrudingly gloomy, one permitted by a faint blackness. Here, the sky seemed to be protrudingly gloomy, one permitted by a faint blackness. Time passed quickly, and now we have new artwork down here. Time passed quickly, and the invisible serpent entered the forest that bottled out the sky with the tree branches, and everything before it suddenly dimmed. Right on the heels of that, the nearly transparent, cold, and undetachable eyes of mystery prying saw through the dim environment. There were pale white corpses placed in between the trees. Skulls and rotting corpses hung down from the many branches. They consisted of dragons, avian creatures, and some had 8 legs, while the others were strange giant creatures that occupied every empty spot in the forest. At a glance, Bernadette seemed to have arrived at a cemetery. A scene naturally surfaced in her mind. I'm sorry, Roselle's grave? It was a scene of supernatural beings giving birth to their descendants before they died, thus passing on their beyond characteristics to them. And these creatures would struggle towards this region of the primitive forest from every direction in search of an unoccupied spot. Then, facing a particular direction, they would silently die, gradually rotting and being reduced to bones. What's the meaning behind this? As a clairvoyant, Bernadette fully believed that the scenes produced in her mind were what happened in the real world. However, she was puzzled about the type of power that made the creatures on the primitive island choose this area as her tomb. Furthermore, since Grimm, William, and Polly, who had died long ago, appeared to remain alive in some form, it didn't make sense that their supernatural mutated creatures that had stayed on the island all this while had all suffered even more corruption would end up dying. I read that sentence wrong. I'm so sorry. This made Bernadette frown slightly as she directed the invisible servant to continue proceeding deeper into the creature cemetery. Just like that, the invisible servant proceeded forward nearly 15 minutes into the forest filled with bones and corpses. Finally, it saw a fourth object beyond trees, weeds, and corpses. It was a black stone pillar. It was very thick with a wide spanning about 6 arm spans and 30 to 40 meters tall. Its surface was covered with rings, which were signs of weathering. It resembled a finger wearing rings that didn't suit its size. Bernadette made the eyes of mystery prying observe the stone pillar for several seconds, but she didn't discover anything mysterious about it. It was as though it was a symbol that was casually erected. Yeah, we just started. The invisible servant looked around and discovered that the surrounding corpses around the stone pillar didn't suffer from the serious rot. There were even covered in rather intact flesh and skin. I'm sorry, how are these still intact? There aren't any supernatural powers or magical effects that are different from the other places unless new deceased were gathered near the stone pillar. It's impossible for them to have such a unified trend. I'm sorry, how the fuck did Roselle do this? Bernadette suspected that it wasn't because there was no mysterious influence in this matter, but it would only happen in a specific moment. She didn't use her powers or prophecies to search for the reason. This is because a prophecy at its core was to pry into the secrets of the River of Fate, and you cannot do that here. The more serious the problem involved was, and the higher her status and level, the more damage the backlash would bring to her. And at this moment, it was impossible for Bernadette to not be cautious. She was afraid that it might involve an unknown existence. I think Roselle became that unknown existence. Maybe. In addition, this hadn't caused any harm to her. She didn't have to take the risk to make a prophecy. After searching for a while to no avail, the invisible servant continued forward, attempting to pass through the cemetery and head to other regions of the forest. Just then, Bernadette heard a rustling sound. It was the sound of a breeze passing through the vegetation, a tidal wave in the void. Ever since she landed on the strange island, this was Bernadette's first time feeling the wind. Subconsciously, she made the invisible servant look back at the black stone pillars. In the eyes of Mr. Pryne, the corpses around the stone pillar began to rot and shed one by one. On the stone pillars, new flesh and blood grew out like they had their own spirituality, and their skin slowly covered this harrowing scene 1 inch at a time. That's fucking gross. This change lasted for less than 10 seconds before stopping. A small number of corpses no longer showed any signs of decay. It looked like they had just died. In that second, a mutated curly-haired baboon with a baboon, and a wolf with 8 legs wobbled to their feet. Their fur was slightly white and their skin was slightly dry, their eyes dull and cold. Then the 2 originally deceased creatures each got their bearings and left the cemetery from different spots. Bernadette's gaze froze as she watched this. Her brows raised slightly as she finally understood what the creatures on this island had struggled to come to this area before dying and why they had to die here. Why? Here, death and endpoint didn't mean entering the state of eternal slumber, but rather a new beginning. Furthermore, this wasn't the resurrection of a zombie or skeleton that a spirit guide was capable of. It was a new, title drop. It was a new life with a certain will and vitality. A distortion and disorder of the world's underlying rules were breaking rules, okay? In addition, it seems to contain some mystery from the Black Emperor's resurrection. However, those who obtain new life aren't in a proper state. They're even closer to zombies. Such revivals are very problematic. Klein, who was above the Great Fog, also saw the scene and had many guesses. Of course, this was under the premise that Emperor had fundamentally left his last mausoleum here and exerted some form of influence here. As he thought about it, Klein rejected this idea. This was because before Emperor became an angel, this primitive island had a similar situation. The dead Grim was proof. Yes, the exact details that happened back then might not be the same as what happened now. Perhaps compared to the past, it has already been distorted and distorted. Klein nodded gently, prepared to bless and protect Bernadette at any time. Bernadette also came up with a guess. She didn't allow the invisible servant to stay in the spot and wait for a new tide of life. You skipped the chapter? No, I imagine. No, we're good. This is because she had foreseen the development. After being repeatedly affected by the new tide of life, the invisible servant would oddly develop some sort of sentient and come alive. The invisible servant is coming alive. Okay. In addition, it wasn't that the invisible servant hadn't done any investigation prior to this, but it had ultimately failed to discover anything special about the Blackstone Pillar. Bernadette didn't believe it would gain anything new by remaining here. In such a situation, it was better to establish a basic understanding of the primitive island rather than alarming an unknown existence due to a deeper study. Many a time, there was a problem that eluded on the beginning, but the answer might be near to the end. Don't worry, Cammy. Easy is 80% immune to my tricks now. More like 99, you know, just like 1% now. This was thanks to the experience that Bernadette had accumulated over all these years. The corpses of the trees and branches gradually grew fewer and invisible servants moved forward. During this process, Bernadette discovered another phenomenon. In the new tide of life, it wasn't certain that the corpse would be revived. However, once the revived and left the empty area, the rest of the corpses would be attracted like metal to magnets in the next 5 minutes. They would stiffly move towards the center, filling up the corresponding spots like they were in line for bestowment. The law beyond their characteristics convergence. No, it doesn't seem like that. The deceased have already passed on their characteristics. As Bernadette's thoughts wander, she suddenly thought of a question: how the fuck is this happening? It's impossible for the deceased to produce new beyond their characteristics after obtaining new life, but do they still possess their powers in their previous life? But do they still possess their powers in a previous life even though they lost the characteristics? Okay. Once I have a complete grasp of the situation on the island, I can find a resurrected being to test it out. Bernadette quickly made a decision and followed the invisible servant's route forward. She didn't use any beyond her powers other than her invisibility hat. She hoped that she wouldn't disturb the environment and miss out on any details. Therefore, she didn't walk too fast. She took out about 15 minutes to leave the cemetery. The invisible servant had already entered the forest up ahead. It could hear the occasional bird chirping and beast roars. The vibrant vitality here was different from the other remaining regions above the Great Fog Climbside. Thankfully, I'm now the owner of Sephira Castle. Here, I have the statuses of a Kings of Angels. I can observe reality for as long as I want, and I don't have to worry about draining my spirituality. Yes, the only things I need to pay attention to is my body that's hidden in the ancient city located in the fog of history before the first epoch. After traveling for another few minutes, the invisible servant suddenly saw something that appeared incongruous to the primitive island's environment. Klein getting cocky? Well, I mean, we'll see how cocky he gets. I mean, I feel like it's warranted, right? Him being cocky, I feel like it's justified. But who knows? It was a long cabin that seemed to be of a residence of a forest ranger. The long cabin was brown in color and was less than 2.5 meters tall. It looked like it was prepared for humans, but every detail was rough and crude. At that moment, the cabin's door was open, allowing Bernadette to see the situation inside through the eyes of mystery prying. A wooden table, a fur-covered bed, and a low-back chair formed a scene of a residence lived by humans. Who lives here? Without a thought for Bernadette, the invisible servant rapidly approached the cabins and searched for possible clues. It then realized that the interior of the cabin was ice cold. Apart from the furniture, there was nothing else. It seems like no one had lived there for a very long time. Just as Bernadette was using the eyes of mystery prying to carefully inspect every detail in the cabin, she suddenly had a premonition. She hurriedly made the invisible servant turn around. At some point in time, a person had appeared behind the invisible servant. He was wearing luxurious clothes from the Rizal era. His hair was completely white and he looked old. He had a pair of light blue eyes that were extremely cold and blank. Edwards. This was the knight who had outlived Emperor Vice... Oh, Edwards! Oh, the Four Horsemen, dude. This was the knight who had outlived Emperor Vice Admiral Iceberg, Edwina's ancestor. Edwards stared at the invisible servant for a few seconds. Suddenly, he opened his mouth and said in a low voice, "Your Highness." Oh shit, so Roselle is here. Ooh, it's gonna be good. I'm sorry. So, he's actually gonna resurrect. And I don't think he's gonna be all good in the head, man. I feel like he might be not the protagonist, but the antagonist. I feel it. I think he is gonna become an antagonist. Maybe not book 1, but maybe leading into book 2. But next chapter, chapter 1302, Conspiracy, a conspiracy if I say. The scene in the prophecy. Bernadette fell silent. Oh, as I forget to update this. Bernadette fell silent for 2 seconds before replying through the invisible servant. "Uncle Edwards, why are you here?" She used the way she addressed him when she was young to reduce the chances of an accident. Her voice reverberated in the surrounding area with the invisible servant as a conduit. It was dry, dull, and completely different from normal. Edward's face was pale, as if it had just crawled out of the grave without any warmth. "I don't know either. When I woke up, I discovered that I had returned to this island. This might be my destiny, a destiny of guarding His Majesty." Oh shit, he's here. Who knows? Oh, he's here, boy. He paused with every word he said, but he didn't give the impression that he was out of breath. It seemed like he hadn't spoken for a long time, so much that his throat was rusty. He wasn't used to speaking. Without waiting for Bernadette's further inquiries, the knight who was famous across the continent more than 100 years ago added with a flat tone, "His Majesty's mausoleum is nearby." and he's inside. It's NNN, guys. It's NNN. You must stay strong. You must stay strong. Stay strong. Stay strong. I know Elutim gets a little exciting, but you must stay strong. Remember the month it is and hold the line. "I've been guarding this place, waiting for him to revive, but after so many years, the mausoleum has never changed. There haven't been any signs of a resurrection." until we meet the fool, right? Bernadette made the invisible servant look around and said, "This long cabin is where you live." Edward's exposed skin was slightly shriveled. It matched the aging spots he originally had. His voice was low and hoarse as he answered, "That's right. I used the surrounding trees to make materials to build this cabin." Bernadette's invisible servant looked in the direction where she had come from. "Uncle Willem and the others aren't with you." Edward's cold, wooden eyes moved. "They have long been corrupted and are dead. Although they've come back to life, they're more like monsters. There aren't any former selves. Your Highness, you must be wary of them and avoid them. Do not trust anyone but Benjamin and me." Bernadette fell silent for a while before asking through the invisible servant, "Where's my father's mausoleum? I want to take a look." Edward's somewhat stiff neck moved. Okay. He then took a step forward to the cabin and took out a rusted black axe. "I'll take you there." Oh, Tracy from Historical Void, we can do that. I'll take you there, Edward said as he looked at the invisible servant that normally couldn't be seen. During this process, his expression was stiff and almost unchanged. All right. All along the periphery of the forest, Bernadette responded using the invisible servant to make her hoarse voice echo in the surroundings. Edwards was almost 1.9 meters tall, almost 6 feet, and he looked rather thin. He carried his axe and walked behind the long cabin before saying in a flat tone, "It's very close. Be careful along the way." Bernadette immediately controlled the invisible servant and made it follow the luxurious dressed Edwards. Walking through the forest one after another, Bernadette suddenly made the invisible servant ask, "Uncle Edwards, what were you worshipping in the empty space before?" Edwards, it has to be Roselle. Edwards didn't turn his head. I see it. Edwards didn't turn his head as he maintained the same pace, His Majesty. At least 2 kilometers behind him and the invisible servant, Bernadette immediately pricked up her brow. She took nearly 3 seconds to control her emotions. Through the invisible servant, she continued asking without any emotions, "Uncle Willem and the others are worshipping him." Edwards paused, but he kept his back towards the invisible servant and eyes of mystery prying. "No?" 6.2 feet? Damn, that's all. He slowed down as though he was thinking of an answer. "I don't know what they worship." Bernadette's eyes narrowed slightly as though she could see some changes in the river of fate. She didn't ask any more questions. She had made the invisible servant silently follow Edwards. Amidst the dark green towering trees and the black sharp shrubs, they headed for the island's mountain peak. In just 4 or 5 minutes, the trees up ahead disappeared. This wasn't a process that went from a dense to sparse until there was nothing. Instead, the towering trees suddenly disappeared after an imaginary boundary line. Beyond the invisible line was a mountain. Oh, so it's like a fake scenery. And once you pass that invisible line or the imaginary line, you see something else. Beyond the invisible line was a mountain that was hundreds of meters tall. It was covered by dark green trees that were almost black in color. From afar, it was almost as if one was with the forest, virtually inseparable. However, the side of the mountain faced Edwards and Bernadette was mostly without vegetation. Half of the mountain had been excavated. In the middle of the mountain, a pitch-black mausoleum stood there with a majestic appearance. Holy shit, Roselle resides here. Let's fucking go, dude. Oh, he's coming back, huh? Now, is he gonna be good or bad now? What the fuck? Music changing that chapter? Let me know. I got you, Cammy. Thank you. Most of it was part of the mountain range. A small portion of it had signs of man-made constructions and polishing. It truly expounded on what it meant to be a mountain mausoleum. Thus, the mausoleum... Oh, this is a long chapter. Thus, the mausoleum didn't look like the common pyramid. Instead, it looked more like a towering mountain. It wasn't exactly symmetrical, but it was definitely majestic. Perhaps the mausoleum itself had influenced its surroundings, or perhaps Edwards had cleared the area. Its surface was void of weeds, nor was it covered with vines commonly seen in other mountains. This allowed Bernadette to see the various texts and symbols engraved on the mausoleum through the eyes of mystery prying. She saw the heavy 30-meter tall stone door that seemed to be prepared for giants. Bernadette wasn't unfamiliar with those words and symbols. She didn't take much time to recognize them as either civil code that was created by her father, the new social trends that had established, or even some design drafts of some inventions. Just as Bernadette was carefully examining it, Klein, who was above the great fog, was completely certain that this was the last mausoleum left behind by Emperor Rizal. And because we took out the former... Oh my god, Edwards III? Because we took him out, now Rizal can come back. I think that's how it works. Black Emperor can only truly return when the former Black Emperor is dead, right? That's how it was. I'm forgetting the fine print, but I believe that's how it worked. After walking out of the primitive forest and passing through the invisible boundary, they arrived near the mausoleum. Edward stopped. He half turned his body and aimed his pale face, cold eyes at the invisible servant. He said without any change in his voice, "Don't go in. Stop George." Oh, George III. Why say Edwards? George III, yes, from becoming the Black Emperor. But because we stop him, technically Rizal can come back now. Close but not dice? Yeah, my bad. I said it wrong. It will interrupt the resurrection. Wait, I skipped a sentence. He half turned his body and aimed his pale face at the cold eyes at the invisible servant. He said without any change in his voice, "Don't go in. It will interrupt the resurrection." Bernadette frowned slightly as though for 2 seconds before using the eyes of Mr. Prank to look into the mausoleum. Then her blue eyes that resembled the sea became extremely deep, like the surface of the sea before a storm. Under such circumstances, her eyes clearly lost focus as her vision turned blurry. She was prying in the secrets of the river of fate, making a prophecy for what would happen next. He tapped the long model table and increased the probability of her success. He then prepared him to resist the corruption of the cosmos. Of course, the latter wasn't necessary because Bernadette had a grade 0 sealed artifact that she could control. Bernadette raised her right hand the next second. Her skin instantly turned as white as snow, her lips turned as red as blood, and her hair was black as ebony. An illusory ancient mirror appeared in her hands. Mirror. This was a Snow White or for fairy tale magic. Mirror, mirror on the wall, right? That one. Bernadette had used it to enhance the success rate and accuracy of her prophecy. Suddenly, she saw a scene. The majestic and solemn dark mausoleum visibly shook as the tall, heavy stone doors opened. Then a huge black arm stretched out from the stone door. The style of this arm was close to that of the trees on the island. From its color and state, it looked more like a part of the shadow. However, it wasn't a thin layer, but it was instead filled with flesh and blood. It looked extremely strange. Is it Rizzo? It supported itself with its elbows and moved forward with great difficulty as though it wanted to pull out a bigger and more terrifying parts within his body. Boom. The entire island began to shake. Boom. The transparent eye of Mr. Prank suddenly shattered. Bernadette's eyes immediately closed as if she had been seeing a blinding light and encountered some unbearable damage. Blood trickled down from the corners of her eyes as the color in her face drained significantly. On her body, a pair of illusionary holy wings spread out, descending upon her with its clean white feathers to neutralize the invisible corruption. Indeed, she has the ability to resist. The Emperor sure has left a huge inheritance for her. Before I taught Ma'am Hermit a lesson, she liked to use the eye of Mr. Prank to examine the people and objects around her. It definitely has something to do with how she was brought up. In short, it's all Rizzo's fault. Klein heaved a sigh of relief as he couldn't help but criticize the Emperor. Then his mind raced as he analyzed the scene that Bernadette had prophesied. A terrifying creature crawls out from the mausoleum after stone doors open. This might be the resurrected Roselle, or perhaps a symbol of some kind of disaster. For example, a particular outer deity who had once corrupted the island, or the primordial moon who secretly corrupted Roselle. Yes, you're right, because he went to the moon. Yes, even if Roselle, he definitely wouldn't be taking on the form of human. He's even closer to that of a mythical creature, a deity. Also, I can't be sure if the terrifying creature is rational or if it can communicate. There's another important problem. Was the stone door opened by Bernadette or someone else, or did the terrifying creature in the mausoleum do it by itself? If it's the latter, things might develop to the stage or the prophecy even if we don't do a thing. A prophecy is truly filled with ambiguity. Klein conjured a gold coin and inflicted, making a divination. The result of the dream divination showed that the mausoleum was both dangerous and safe. How the fuck does that work? How is it both safe and dangerous? Like, it's safe for one person, like it's safe to them, but it's dangerous to the world? How do I interpret this? How do I interpret this shit, dude? As Klein pondered, he focused his attention back on Bernadette. Bernadette took nearly a minute to recover and stopped appearing the week. However, she was temporarily unable to interpret the direction of the prophecy from the scene she saw. She could only confirm that the problem was definitely very complicated. Due to the eyes of Mystery Prank shattering, there was no way for her to use it to see the various secrets. All she could do was use the invisible servant perception to observe the situation around her. She realized that Edwards remained silent and motionless. She was unable to control the invisible servant, as though he hadn't noticed anything abnormal. After some thought, Bernadette said to Edwards through the invisible servant, "Do you still remember the years you spent in Lemberg?" Edwards' indifferent blue eyes moved. "I remember, I think." At this point, he seemed to recall something. His expression twisted as though he was suffering some indescribable pain. In such a state, his eyes suddenly glowed with a strange light. I think I'm already dead. Holy shit. He realized he's already dead? It took him this long to realize I think I'm already dead. Wait. This chapter is called Coming to Life. I'm sorry, who the fuck is coming to life? Edwards or Rizzo, dude? Chapter 1303 is called Coming to Life. Oh my god, I forgot my timestamps. Already dead. Edwards turned his head and looked at Bernadette's invisible servant with his light blue eyes. His gaze was no longer cold and blank. It emitted a strange glint that was filled with disbelief. It was only at this moment that he seemed to realize that he had long died and had come back to life. It was no different from Williams, Polly, and Grimm, who he claimed were individuals who needed to keep up one's guard against. This transformation lasted for only 2 seconds before Edward's face twisted. His already pale skin rapidly dimmed as it ruptured inch by inch. Beneath his skin, the red pieces of flesh began to rot at a discernible speed, dripping foul yellow liquid. With a whoosh, I assume that's fat. Alright, let me find my place. Edwards turned his head and looked at Bernadette's invisible servant with his light blue eyes. His gaze was no longer cold and blank. It emitted a strange glint that was filled with disbelief. It was only at this moment that he seemed to realize that he had long died and had come back to life. He was no different from William, Polly, and Grimm, who he had claimed were individuals who needed to keep up one's guard against. This transformation lasted for only 2 seconds before Edward's face twisted, his already pale skin rapidly dimmed as if ruptured inch by inch. Beneath his skin, the red pieces of flesh began to rot at a discernible speed, dripping foul yellow liquid. With a swish, Edwards raised the black axe in his hand. Oof. His axe ruthlessly cleaved at the top of his head, as though it was trying to stop the bad thoughts. Whoa, what the fuck? His axe ruthlessly cleaved the top of his head as though it was trying to stop the bad thoughts that surfaced in his mind. The axe was heavy and sharp. It tore through Edward's skull all the way to his glabella. Ugh. Drip, drip, drip. Drops of milky, white, cerebral spinal fluid dripped down from the axe's blade, sliding across Edward's grimace and torn face as though he had poured some milk onto a bright red strawberry. Don't come near me, Edward said in low voice and hoarse voice to Bernadette's invisible servant after striking himself in the head. Before he could finish the sentence, his expression returned to its blank state. The look in his eyes gradually turned hollow as he turned around and walked towards the forest. The thin and shriveled body on his stooped a little as though his... Oh, wait. I just drank milk. Truly, we're immersing ourselves in the chapter, huh? I didn't even catch that. Yeah, we were literally drinking milk right here before we started recording. That thin and shriveled body of his stopped a little, as though his back was hunched. Bernadette had probed him because of the doubts and concerns she had already entering the mausoleum. All she could do was indirectly determine the problem with Edward's existence and see if she could obtain more clues from his answer. She never expected this knight from Brazil's era, who had been famous across the northern continent, would react in such an intense and strange manner. After 2 seconds of silence, Bernadette made the invisible servant say to Edward's back, "Your descendants are doing pretty well. All of them are accomplished in a certain sense." Edwards, whose back was facing the mausoleum, stopped for a moment. Then he continued forward, passing the visible boundary and entering the forest. His target seemed to be in the direction of the cemetery, with the stone pillar, the place where the deceased could obtain new life. At the same time, Bernadette looked up into the sky. Oh shit! Oh wait, right here? Oh wait, no, when she rubs her back. No, you're good. When is the 1 year anniversary to buy now? 1 year anniversary to what? The stream? November. I'm kind of... Are you guys down Veterans Day? Keep you on your toes. I'm. You know what? We can try and do like a 12-hour stream on... No, we can try doing a potential 24-hour stream on the Monday leading into Tuesday. Maybe. We'll see. At the same time, Bernadette looked up into the sky. Let me find my place. After 2 seconds of silence, Bernadette made the invisible servant say to Edward's back, "Your descendants are doing pretty well. All of them are accomplished in a certain sense." Edwards, whose back was facing the mausoleum, stopped for a moment. Then he continued forward, passing the visible boundary and entering the forest. No, we're doing it next week. We're doing it next week. Pinky promise. Then he continued forward, passing the visible boundary and entering the forest. We're literally doing the announcement right here, right now. There's a 24-hour stream Monday to Tuesday. We're gonna do it. His target. We're gonna make the announcement after the stream, maybe when I wake up in the morning. But it's happening. 1 week from literally 1 week from today. Edwards, whose back was facing the mausoleum, stopped for a moment. Then he continued forward, passing the visible boundary and entering the forest. His target seemed to be in the direction of the cemetery, with his stone pillar, the place where the deceased could obtain new life. At the same time, Bernadette looked up into the sky. The faint black colors that permitted the area had clearly faded, but there was an indescribable feeling. The entire primitive island underwent a subtle change that couldn't accurately be described. Suddenly, Bernadette, who was hiding at the edge of the invisible boundary, rubbed her back. She felt that it was very heavy, as though there was something there. When her left palm touched her target, Bernadette realized that there was an extra strand of hair. Oh shit, right here. There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. It's a banger song, bro. It literally clicked as I finished the sentence. I was like, wait, music change. At this moment, she was wearing an Inti-styled blouse with large lace flowers around the collar. And I cannot pronounce this word. You guys were making fun of me last time. Sorry, immersion break for 2 seconds. An indigo pattern captain's uniform, a pair of beige trousers, knee-length boots, and a triangular hat with feathers on it. She was dressed like the leader of a pirate ship. She styled herself such that her long chestnut hair was tied in a bun, leaving the remaining strands in a way that would reach the middle of her back. But now, even though her hairstyle remained unchanged, her hair had grown longer and reached her waist. Then Bernadette lowered her head and looked at the right palm. She saw the fingernails of her 5 fingers extending. Queen Mystic didn't show any signs of surprise or panic. She followed the instincts of the clairvoyant, and from all the experience she had accumulated over the time, she took it a few steps forward. As through the invisible boundary, she completely left the primitive forest and entered the empty area where the Black Emperor's mausoleum was. Oh shit, we're gonna meet Dad? During this process, Bernadette, even made the invisible servant, returned to the spirit world. 3 or 4 seconds later, she felt the earth shake. The mausoleum began to tremble visibly. What's this chapter called? Coming to life? Oh, it is Rizzo. Subconsciously, Bernadette turned to look at the primitive forest. Her gaze froze for a moment. The dark green trees were waving their branches and uprooting their roots. Then, like humans, they approached Bernadette. The entire primitive forest had I'm sorry, what? The entire primitive forest had come to life. Looking at a dense cluster of trees that seemed to blot out from the sky surging at her, Bernadette had the feeling that her doomsday was approaching. She felt as if the entire air would be blanketed by the forest. A gigantic red dragon with flames flowing across in the sky rapidly flew into the sky. An 8-legged demonic wolf began to run madly between the trees. All the supernatural beings and mutated creatures on the island stirred as he rushed towards the mausoleum. And they're all going to go prostrate themselves in front of Rizzo? Is that what's going to happen? Although she was a clairvoyant, Bernadette... I thought I skipped something. Although she was a clairvoyant, Bernadette still didn't expect that her simple, indirect questions would bring about such anomaly. It was as though it was a key that had opened the door to the abyss. Above the Great Fall, Klein saw a lot more. Together with his knowledge of mysticism, he had a certain guess. The situation of Edwards is different from William, Grimm, and Polly. It's like a loophole of the order of the primitive island, or rather a shadow. Wait, hold up. Stream chat is not refreshing for me down here. That's weird. Okay, we're good. Or rather a shadow. When he realized that he was already dead, this loophole was discovered by the Order and then began to conduct repairs. And the repairs brought with it an enhancement of order, causing the entire island to experience an anomaly. I need to loop the song, give me a sec. Oh, I looped it. Experience an anomaly. I can sense that the Black Emperor's powers are present here to a certain degree. It affected Edwards, causing him to maintain a portion of his will after obtaining a new life. And where did this original order of the primitive island come from, huh? As Klein's thoughts raced, he suddenly sensed that Bernadette was suffering certain anomalies. Oh, fuck you. No way this is gonna... She is not losing control. Thump, thump, thump. Bernadette could vaguely hear her own heartbeat. This heartbeat was rather chaotic, as though it was a combination of 2 sounds. Bernadette's heart stirred as she calmly directed her attention back to herself. In the next second, she confirmed that there were 2 sources of her heartbeat. One came from her heart, the other came... Oh, wait! Rose, we found out that a piece of Rizzo stayed behind, right? Bernadette has a piece of Rizzo. Right? But if it's from her abdomen, then that means she's... Just like Lenevus, the scum of piece of shit, how he was possessed? Wait. And the next second, she confirmed that there were 2 sources of her heartbeat. One came from her heart and the other from her abdomen. There seems to be an additional heart in her abdomen, one that was rapidly expanding and contracting. What the fuck? Furthermore, this heart was developing bit by bit. Without needing to use, like, I don't need to use fucking mystery prying to see what the fuck is going on right here. What the fuck is this second heart? Without needing to use her mystery prying powers to look at her abdomen, Bernadette immediately says that there was a... What? She sensed a fetus? Oh, fuck you guys. Really? We're doing the pregnant shit again? Oh, hell no. Wait. Where did this fetus come from? Like, okay, I know Japan gets a little freaky with, like, the incest. I don't even want to say the word. With like, that taboo? Is that, like, did they do the deed? Or, like, is it Rizzo being reborn? What the fuck? That there was a fetus in her womb. It had grown from the size of a grape to the size of a normal human palm. If it was left to grow, it didn't seem like it would take long before it matured. What? It would then tear open her oh no! It would then tear open her mother's womb and drill out while it covered in blood. Unknowingly, Bernadette had been... What the fuck am I reading? There's art. Oh, send the artwork. Wait. Unknowingly, Bernadette had become pregnant. Her spiritual perception in the sealed artifact on her body had failed to detect it in advance or attempt to stop it. It was as though she was powerless to deal with such an influence. Earth, Mother, Primordial Moon, Mother Tree Desire, 3 divine names flashed 3 at once? Wait, don't send it. Yeah, there's something that we don't need to send. Don't send it yet. 3 divine names flashed through Bernadette's mind. According to what she knew, there weren't many mysteries that could cause such an anomaly. Most of them came from the domains related to the Earth and the Moon pathways. Sequence 0, the planetary pathway was... Sequence 0 of the planetary pathway was Mother. Oh, that makes so much sense. Mother Tree of Desire. Mother. Oh, you guys remember the movie Mother? Mother does some nasty ass shit too. Triggers me to this day. Sequence 0 of the planetary pathway was Mother. The Primordial Moon could make a stone have a reproductive powers, while the Mother Tree of Desire seemed to possess some high sequences beyond her characteristics of the Moon pathway. Bernadette wasn't in a hurry to deal with the fetus in her stomach. I'm sorry, we should deal with that pretty quickly. Her gaze turned dark once again as she used her prophetic abilities to see what her best choice was. This time she only took 1 second to obtain the corresponding prophecies. Survival lies inside the mausoleum. Without any hesitation, Bernadette reached out her right hand and quickly drew out the words filled with stellar radiance. These words, which were similar to the words of the blasphemy slate, quickly interwove into a strange symbol and opened a secret door that seemed to lead deep into the spirit world. Following that, the secret door opened and a strong gust of wind blew out, transforming into an entity that was half man. Following that, the secret door opened and a strong gust of wind blew out, transforming into an entity that was half man and half air. His upper body was wrapped in white cloth, sage front length. Bernadette's tone was calm as she ordered in a dignified voice. The man responded respectfully and removed the accessory from the white cloth wrapped around his body. The core of this accessory was a vertical eye embedded with diamonds. It shimmered with pure light, exuding abnormal holiness. It was filled with intelligence, but it also appeared cold without any warmth. Bernadette then took the accessory and embedded it into the middle of her forehead. This was a grade 0 sealed artifact, which Bernadette usually didn't carry with her, as the negative effects were too severe. However, at this moment, the sage frontlight had the ability that was extremely important to Bernadette. She was willing to bear the consequences of not being able to use evil magic and the gradual influence and the bionic characteristics would have on her as it slowly fused with her. If she didn't remove the sage frontlet in a short period of time, it would be equivalent to having a secret 2 potion splashed on her. When the time came, that sounds really dangerous. When the time came, she could either end up lucky and succeed in advancing to become a sage, or lose control and become a monster, and without the supplementary ingredients and the corresponding ritual, the former probability was nearly negligible, so she would probably lose control. With the diamond vertical eye on her forehead, Bernadette's body began to turn incorporeal as she dissociated into a series of complicated knowledge. In that instant, she became a creature of pure information. The baby... it's fucking gross. The baby in her womb failed to obtain such a state as it fell to the ground. It was half the size of a normal baby... Bro, what's cuttlefishes with babies, bro? What is this? Like, bro, what is he trying to say, man? He's like, what's he trying to say, bro? He's like, babies are evil, bro. Holy shit, man. It was half the size of a normal baby. It already had facial features and limbs. Its skin was wrinkled and it was dripping with sticky pus. As it left its mother body, the undeveloped it began to regress and quickly melted in the air. The baby was clearly unwilling to give up. It tried its best to open its eyes, which were sealed by the sticky liquid. It opened its mouth wide open in a bid to make its final struggle. Oh, shit. Damn, that actually got sad now. What the fuck? At this moment, Klein, who was above the gray fog, wrapped the edge of the long model table paw. He increased the probability of failure with respect to the baby struggling. Unable to maintain itself, the baby completely dissipated in front of the approaching black forest. At the same time, the flood of information that Bernadette had transformed into it had entered the Black Emperor mausoleum. Okay, we're here. Interior through the heavy stone door as she reformed her original body. During this process, she seemed to see a black shadow. Holy guacamole. It's fucking Roselle. I'm sorry, how did the baby come about? That was like just kind of gross. That I think I just glossed over the fact on how the baby formed in the first place. The black shadow is clearly Emperor as the Black Emperor. That has to be it. Don't feel bad for that thing. Easy think, bro. I don't even know what to fucking think. That shit was just so fucking gross. You can already guess it, but it's explained later. Okay. It's explained later. Okay, wait, hold up. We'll think about it. We'll think about it. It's okay. We'll think about it. Chapter 1304 is called The Importance of Ideas. When she entered the Black Emperor's mausoleum, Bernadette vaguely saw a black shadow. However, after she intricated herself from being an embodiment of information and reassembled her body with the pure, messy knowledge, she didn't sense anything. It was as though what she had just experienced was just an illusion. Queen Mystic wasn't in a rush to venture deep into the mausoleum. Wait, did I do my timestamp? Yes. She wasn't in a rush to venture deep into the mausoleum. She stayed in her spot and carefully observed her surroundings. Without using the powers of mystery prying, everything was clearly presented before her eyes. The interior of the Black Emperor mausoleum was empty. Apart from the pitch black walls and the high platform in the middle, there was nothing. On the high platform, there was a chair that looked like it was prepared for a giant. It was made of iron, and its surface was engraved with complicated and distorted patterns. At the top of the seat, there was a crown-shaped object. At this moment, there wasn't a single figure of the huge, heavy seat, as if it was waiting for its emperor to return. Just as Bernadette was about to take a step forward and approach the platform, she suddenly realized that her body was completely immobilized, as if she was being bound tightly by invisible shackles. Right on the heels of that, pairs of illusionary and holy white wings appeared behind her. Is it Klein's angel? Right on the heels of that, pairs of illusionary and holy white wings appeared behind her, as though she was passively resisting something. And the next second, on the pairs of angel wings with feathers dropped as they fluttered, they grew deformed, thin, and fluffy limbs. Music change. The prophetic vision instantly disappeared. The gaps and layers of the feathers spread open one after another, as though they had become countless eyes. The deformed feathers immediately let out a crisp laughter, causing a hollow chuckle to echo inside of the mausoleum. All of them had come alive, turning into miniature winged creatures. What the fuck? This reminded Bernadette of some fairy tales that her father had told her. There were always little pixies that weren't as big as a thumb in them. As this thought flashed through her mind, Bernadette felt her right eye itch. The eyelashes of the eye grew rapidly, turning into tiny arms. What the fuck? The eyelashes of that eye grew rapidly, turning into tiny arms that took root on her face, trying hard to pull her eyeball out. Ugh. I see it. The veins in Bernadette's right eye protruded as they let out a childlike voice. So fucking gross. Yeah, I don't even know how the fuck we animate this, dude. This is so nasty, dude. This shit is so fucking gross. It's so like body horror, bro. The veins in Bernadette's right eyes protruded as they let out a childlike voice, as though they had gained sentience and consciousness of her body. This was also a form of new life. Almost at the same time, Bernadette's left ear suddenly dropped down and covered her ears. Wait. Bernadette's left ear suddenly dropped down and covered her ears. I don't want to hear it. It's covering her own ears. I don't want to hear it. The ears shouted with a sharp voice. If she didn't use her spirituality, Bernadette would definitely imagine that she was a young maiden by her side, one that was covering her ears, stamping her feet, and screaming. Without cushioning anything, the sage frontlet in the middle of her forehead automatically left her body and floated into the air. The surface of the vertical eye, embedded with diamonds, instantly flashed with countless cold beams of light. It was as though numerous tiny eyes had grown out of it. Each eye reflected Bernadette. The Sage Frontlight had also obtained a certain living characteristic. Just as the Grade Zero artifact was about to awaken and affect its target, a pale white, slender, illusory palm reached out and grabbed at it. The Sage Frontlight living characteristics rapidly dispersed as though it had reached the end of its life. Kleiner result. Yeah, fucking Cuttlefish loves this shit, man. He fucking loves body horror. The ice cold and pale hands that clearly belonged to a woman came from behind Bernadette. At some point in time, a figure with only an upper body appeared. The figure grew out of What the fuck is this, bro? The figure grew out of Bernadette's back. It was almost transparent and rather illusionary. She was wearing the same clothing as Bernadette, as she was wearing the same feathered triangular hat. Her blue eyes were like the projection of the ocean. It was like Bernadette herself, a part of her spirit that had drilled out of her body. However, there was the pale white face mask on Bernadette's half-body phantom. The mask only had holes where one's eyes were, with no other gaps elsewhere. This made Bernadette's phantom appear extremely cold and noble, but it lacked the aura of a living being. This was the third item she possessed, and also her last Grade Zero sealed artifact. It was an item made after Emperor Zo returned from the southern continent in his later years, called the Pale Death. Its negative effect was to make the wearer slowly die until it became a corpse and became its slave. That sounds bad. What the fuck is the benefit? At this moment, Bernadette had used this point to restrain the abnormal life growing in her. Just as the half-body phantom appeared, her right eye quelled. Her eyelashes, which had turned thicker and longer into arms, began to fall off one by one. So her arm eyelashes are falling off. Her eyelashes, which had turned thicker and longer, and two arms began to fall off one by one. Her ears didn't make any noise either. They slowly opened and returned to normal. Without such a suppression, Bernadette's facial features, arms and legs would have broken apart to seek freedom. After stabilizing her body, Bernadette tried to take a step forward. However, she was still unable to do anything. All she could do was control the half-bodied spirit body. After some thought, she made the spirit body behind her take out a ritual silver dagger from her pocket watch. Then, bending down, it drew a circle in the middle of her right boot. Bernadette has a stand, glory to Cuttlefish. With a ripping sound, the leather boot quickly shortened by half. Then Bernadette used her half-body spirit body to tear her pants near her left knee. She cut off a corner of her coat and blouse, removing one of the feathers on the side of her triangular hat. This attempt didn't seem to have anything to do with the supernatural beings. It was just like a willful, rebellious girl who wanted to dress up in a different way for her normal sense of aesthetics. However, as Bernadette completed this series of actions, she carefully took a step forward. Her body could actually move, and she no longer felt restrained. The invisible suppression effect vanished instantly. The Black Emperor Mausoleum seemed to accept Bernadette in this form. Who would have thought that something as ordinary person could do was able to deal with such abnormalities? Furthermore, Bernadette suspected that the more she used her beyond her powers to resist whatever she was facing, the deeper the effects. This was because she had the feeling that she was facing an invisible deity. Only by pleasing the other party's senses of aesthetics could she be pardoned. Otherwise, she could only rely on the authority of a sequencer to circle around it. In addition, the lucky things that was Bernadette was once a knowledgeable mystologist. I said it wrong. But she also had a deep understanding of the Black Emperor pathway. She knew what the authorities of this domain consisted of. She knew that it was represented the shadow of order, a distortion of order. This was why Bernadette twisted the normal order around her, using her dressing, thus obtaining the recognition and acceptance of the visible deity. Yes, in the matter of regarding mysticism, knowledge and ideas are more useful than abilities at times. In that situation just now, any resistance would be viewed as a provocation towards the internal order of the mausoleum, triggering unpredictable and terrifying changes. Once one figures of the crux of the problem, the negative effects will be easily resolved. Klein nodded above the great fog and learned quite a lot from Queen Mystic. Okay? Although he was already a sequence higher than her, the point of being a Kings of Angels inside Sephira Castle and having experienced quite a number of major events, his growth had been too fast. He was still lacking when it came to details and problems. Now, when the perfect time to make up for the deficiency through observation. After taking the step, Bernadette began to follow her spiritual intuition and walked towards the huge empty chair on the platform. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. Suddenly, a breeze blew past her neck. This cold wind made Bernadette's body turn numb. At that moment, she felt a black shadow appear behind her. Suddenly, her long chestnut-colored hair patterned, revealing a pair of eyes on her scalp. It was a pair of eyes without any eyelashes. They were almost transparent, cold and heartless. Eyes of mystery prying. The pair of eyes turned slightly and saw that the shadow-like character in the mysterious world showed clear signs of distortion. However, it didn't notice the shadows, nor did it find the source of the cold winds. Just as Bernadette attempted to close the eyes of mystery prying and lower the possibility of an ancient accident, the cold and sinister breeze suddenly appeared in her mind. Her thoughts became active and she became increasingly out of control. She was unable to direct her thoughts in the required manner. This seemed to be a trend that couldn't be changed, one that led to chaos. Yo, take care, Unhinged. Okay, Unhinged. We'll kill up easy reaction to Tristan Klein kissing. Without any hesitation, that'd be a funny clip. One could dream, right? Without any hesitation, Bernadette grabbed the few seconds of thought she was capable of. She let the half-body spirit of her back remove the pale white mask. Then she put pale death on her face while her half-body spirit retracted and her body infused with her. From this second onwards, Bernadette's thoughts would gradually die along with her body. However, her thoughts could not help but stir the turn chaotic. Both of these conflicts conditionings offset one another, forming a weak and delicate balance that helped Bernadette regain her ability to think. To Bernadette, compared to the beyonder effects of the pale death itself, its negative effects were even more effective at this moment. Maintaining the balance, Bernadette took a few steps forward. During this process, she always felt that there were shadows hovering around her, but she couldn't find them no matter how hard she tried. After thinking for a few seconds, Bernadette's blue eyes darkened once again, losing focus. She tried prophesizing the consequences of her choices. Soon, a corresponding scene appeared before her eyes. What is? After putting on the sage frontlet again, she once again transformed into pure and complicated information streams, using it to circumvent the obstruction and head to the high platform in the middle. However, just as an approaching flood of information suddenly disintegrated, it lost its order and formed several Bernadettes built on different tenets. What? There's a young girl in a layered dress, a tall young girl, a melancholic and confused girl, a woman with a twisted and pained expression, and a calm and determined queen. The prophetic vision instantly disappeared and Bernadette's eyes instantly regained focus. Music change? The prophetic vision instantly... I think I just read this. The prophetic vision instantly disappeared and Bernadette's eyes instantly regained focus. It is a good song. It is a good song, Cammy. If you haven't played Expedition Man, you gotta play it. If you guys haven't played it, go play it. At this moment... It's kind of hard to read now. At this moment, she saw the black shadow. It was standing right in front of her, no more than a fist away from her. The face formed from pure shadow completely occupied her vision. It's Daddy Roselle. That black shadow. It's clearly Daddy Roselle, bro. He's here. It has to be him. Sorry. Not Emperor Roselle. I meant... Sorry, not Daddy Roselle. I meant Emperor Roselle is here. Chapter 1305. That black shadow. The moment Bernadette saw the black shadow, she instinctively clenched her right hand and conjured an ancient spear. Spear, not sphere. Spear. From the tip of the spear to its handle, it was dyed with a crimson red balls. It emitted strong destructive aura as thoughts could harm a true deity. Spear of Longinus. This spear had once appeared in the ancient era that couldn't be traced back, stained with the blood of a great existence. At this moment, I'm sorry. We talked about this part. The Spear of Longinus was the one that impaled Jesus Christ, right? And it's stained with the blood of a great existence. At this moment, it had descended into the Black Emperor's mausoleum through mystical reenactment. However, when Bernadette thrust it forward, she failed to achieve any effects because of the tip of the spear was directed at her back. That's a Bible reference, yeah? Despite wanting to attack the black shadow in front of her, the spear of Longinus had strangely thrust backwards. The area had been affected by disorder or suffered some form of distortion. Above the great fog in the palace, Klein noticed that the black shadow, when it appeared in front of Bernadette, he didn't hesitate to raise the staff of stars in his hand. He didn't wait this time, unlike his prior observations of Queen Mystic's actions before, where he could consider if it would provide her with protection. This is because the level of danger of the black shadow sounded off alarms with him. He was an angel of the seer. It was an angel of the seer pathway after all. More importantly, Bernadette couldn't sense the shadow's existence after entering the Black Emperor's mausoleum from time to time. As for Klein, he was unable to find clues through the true vision provided by Sapphire Castle. This undoubtedly meant the danger and terror. When all the gems embedded in the black cane lit up, the sound of melodious bells resounded in the area where Bernadette and the black shadow were. Gong. gong? Is that a bell? A bell? The bell that came from an infinite distance exuded an A bell? The bell that came from an infinite distance exuded an indescribable emptiness. It made the interior of the Black Emperor's mausoleum visibly freeze, turning Bernadette's figure stiff as if she had been frozen. She couldn't do anything. However, the black shadow didn't sink into the vortex of time, as though situated another world built with completely different fundamental rules. The shadow continued moving forward in between the contradictory of the two rivers of fate, no one filled with raging torrents, and one was almost completely still. Let me loop the song. The song is looped. Ooh, I almost pause it. I want to play the song I sent to Wiz and next say good luck to the ones in the countries blocked. Good luck to them. Which ones were blocked? This only made it appear to slow down, in no way affected by the illusory bell. This was the first time Klein had encountered such a situation after he gained the ability to replicate powers. Although the beyond effects he had replicated with the Staff of the Stars were lacking compared to the original version, it would still be able to show a certain level of authority that wasn't easy to ignore regardless. However, the Black Shadow's slow movements gave him a second chance to try again. This time, he activated the Staff of Stars powers and moved Queen Mystic out of the Black Emperor's mausoleum. So we took her out. He wanted her to first conclude what she had experienced before considering entering again. Gems flashed on the tip of the star, and Bernadette, who was almost about to make contact with the Black Shadow, disappeared into thin air. In the next second, she appeared tens of meters away, appearing near the high platform in the mausoleum. The Staff of Stars teleportation was disrupted. The destination had been disordered, turning everything extremely chaotic. Dude, he's so good at using that now. Holy shit, because I remember you have to like perfectly like envision what it is, right? The experienced Bernadette didn't feel any fear or panic because she was stuck inside the Black Emperor mausoleum. She decisively raised her left hand and pressed the sage frontlet in the middle of her forehead, and she used her fingers to struggle the pale death mask. The shimmering golden mask suddenly became soft and rapidly squirmed as if it was about to form a face that didn't belong to Bernadette. The face had soft features and obvious characteristics of a southern continent native, but it exuded a bizarre and terrifying feeling. Anyone who witnessed it would believe it would come alive once the face became clear enough. An entity that came from ancient times, the eternal darkness where the dead slumbered. By then, Bernadette's body, spirituality, and consciousness would all belong to this face. With the protrusion of this face to the stone walls and floor tiles in the Black Emperor mausoleum began to weather. It happened so fast that thousands of years appeared to be washed away in a short span of 2 seconds. What? They quickly became mottled, constantly dropping fragments or throwing up dust due to the wind. In between the cracks, thin white fur grew out. In just a blink of an eye, the fur grew into white feathers and their surface seemed to be soaked in light yellow oil. The aura of the black figure gradually weakened, as though it was ready towards the death of huge strides. Its color faded away, its movements growing slower. Within the area where the pale white mask was, even the concept of death itself would weather away and dissipate. However, what was labeled as death wasn't the end point. When the stone wall and the floor tiles in the mausoleum were weathered to a certain extent, and when the black figure degraded to a certain stage, new stone blocks began to take form as an ethereal auras quickly grew. During this process, the black figure stretched out of his right hand. Oh, the black figure. I thought it was Klein. No, the black figure stretched out his right hand. This palm that was formed from the shadow suddenly grabbed Bernadette's neck from dozens of meters away. How? This wasn't fulfilled by extending the arm, but by distorting the concept. Oh, like an error, like a mon. This wasn't fulfilled by extending the arm, but distorting the concept of distance from an instant. 45 meters became equivalent to 45 centimeters. Yes. Oh, thank you somewhere. Thank you, some known viewer. Distortion extremely broken. It's like it's so hard for me to understand these things. It's just, you can just distort laws. What the fuck, man? The dark palm didn't exert too much strength, but it made Bernadette feel cold. Under such coldness, she realized that she couldn't use the 2 grade 0 serial artifacts of the Sage Frontlet and Pale Death. Typically, as long as she injected her spirituality into it and gave the corresponding thought, the sealed artifact on her would react in the correct manner, creating different effects. But now the silent process and rules had been disrupted and distorted. No amount of thoughts that Bernadette willed were able to stir the sealed artifacts. It felt like she was speaking to the air. Klein, who was above the great fog, didn't waste any time. After failing to teleport Queen Mystic away, a series of complicated symbols and magic labels quickly formed in his mind. Song is blocked in Japan, Russia, Indonesia, and a few other small countries. Is it cooked? I think that's a few. Because I do get Japanese viewers. I think Russia's like 1%, and I've seen Indonesia. At least when I look up on my, at least when I look at my demographics. He wanted to replicate. I'll double check though right now. He wanted to replicate a secret sorcerer's space concealment. He planned on separating Bernadette's location from the Black Emperor's mausoleum and concealing it to help. What? He wanted to replicate a secret sorcerer's space concealment. He planned on separating Bernadette's location from the Black Emperor's mausoleum and concealing it to help Queen Mystic escape her current predicament. In fact, it might have been more appropriate of replicating the fairy tale magic Peace Blossom source. However, considering how Bernadette was formerly a mysthologist, Klein felt that it was better to use space concealment, otherwise it might expose some of the full secrets. As for where he had learned space concealment from, it naturally came from the recent advanced force. Previously, in the name of the world Germansboro, Klein had rented layman's travels. He had also requested Miss Magician to record the corresponding powers. Then he released and recorded it while submitting the complete layman's travels from the fog of history again and again. It didn't take long for him to grasp the knowledge and technique, allowing him to replicate spatial concealment. Oh, he learned that from her. Oh, okay. As more gems lit up the Staff of Stars, the area around Bernadette darkened as though it was covered by a curtain weaved by shadows. The curtain distorted as it concealed the space, isolating the black shadow and its palm outside. This helped Bernadette regain her freedom. The next second, the black palm that had been forcibly separated reached forward again and touched the boundary of the concealed space. In an instant, a transparent vortex-like door appeared in the abnormal void, or rather, the secret door. The originally existed appeared as autonomously and opened up in front of the black palm. All concealed space had a door, but the location of the door depended on the creator's thoughts. The palm formed by the shadows rapidly passed through the open door and entered the concealed space. So we entered the concealed space. It grabbed Bernadette's neck and once again disrupted the connection between Queen Mystic and her sealed artifact, distorting the corresponding order. Music change, end of the chapter. Bernadette's eyes darkened. Bernadette's eyes darkened. Bernadette's eyes darkened. At the same time, the black figure raised its head and looked at the top of the mausoleum. It seemed to be studying Sephira Castle and... Oh, shit, it sees Sephira Castle. It seemed to be studying Sephira Castle and climbed through the layers of space and fog. Klein's eyelids twitched instinctively. He sensed that the shadow had a certain understanding of where he was and felt that it was distorting something. Klein's expression knowingly turned up... It has to be Rizal, because he sensed the gray fog, but he just couldn't go in it. Klein's expression unknowingly turned abnormally heavy. The different gems of the Staff of the Stars lit up at the same time. He wanted to attempt to steal the corresponding beyonder powers of the other party. Only by doing so would he have the chance to restrict the black shadow. And in order to increase the success rate of stealing his target's powers, Klein turned his left palm and tapped the edge of the long modeled table. However, his theft failed. He didn't even get anything. His target had long since escaped the lock-on despite just standing there. Klein's gaze froze, and then he saw the black figure flash and enter the concealed space, closing the distance between it and Bernadette. It distorted my true vision, causing the situation I saw to be from 1 or even 2 seconds ago. A thought so broken. What the fuck? A thought flashed through Klein's mind as he made a preliminary judgment of the previous failure. He then decided to summon Will Austin's historical projection to get him to reboot the area. You could just I forget he can just reboot that. At that moment, Bernadette, who was unable to use her sealed artifact, grew white, illusionary swan feathers on her back. This was her fairy tale magic, Ugly Duckling. It could make Bernadette reveal an incomplete mythical creature form while maintaining her clarity of mind. She could use it twice a day, with each use lasting 15 seconds. At this moment, her thoughts went wild again. They started to boil and become more chaotic. This caused her Ugly Duckling magic to be cut off before it could even show its effects. At the same time, she saw the black shadow stick to her body. Oh! She saw the black shadow stick to her body. It was sticky like a vicious, corrosive liquid that seeped into her body. Bernadette's eyes darkened. Music change. Bernadette's eyes darkened. Let the Shin Godzilla music play. Oh shit, they also announced the sequel to Shin Godzilla. Wait, not Shin Godzilla. Godzilla -1 is not getting the sequel. Godzilla -0. So that sounds hype. All right, here we go. Bernadette's eyes darkened as she suddenly sensed something. Oh, this is what we played during the reveal of Shinobu. I remember this song. As she suddenly sensed something, she grabbed... Wait, I don't want to read the ending. She grabbed the final moment of lucidity and opened her mouth, slightly speaking in a fluent... Oh, she's speaking Chinese? Speaking in a fluent Chinese accent. Home. The black shadow's infiltration paused for a moment. Its upper body slowly rose as it looked at Bernadette. I'm sorry, what? Home. Perfect English? Perfect English, perfect Chinese. Huh, okay, let's keep reading. Chapter 1306. Holy shit, we are almost done, man, with this book. The black figure froze as it released its grip on Bernadette's neck. It was as though it was staring at Queen Mystic with its non-existent eyes. A dry, hoarse voice echoed in its concealed space, home. This voice was filled with hesitation and confusion, as though it was seeking confirmation. It was as if it had come from another world. The corrosion that Bernadette encountered vanished. Her connection with the sealed artifact was instantly restored. Pale Death once again ate at her vitality little by little. This is not good. This helped her resist the chaos in her thoughts, maintaining her basic clarity and rationality. Just as she was about to say something, the black figure suddenly stretched out its palm. But this time, it didn't strangle Bernadette's neck, but instead it pushed her hard. Following this push was the collapse of the concealed space. It was a voice filled with pain, as though it was resisting something. Oh, it's fucking Rizzo. Leave. As the voice echoed, the black figure vanished. It's Rizzo telling his daughter to leave. In an instant, it appeared on the huge black high back chair in the middle of the platform. Two cracks appeared on the surface, as though the two asymmetrical eyes had grown out. Let me lower the volume down just a smidge. Oh, this is good. Let me loop it, and let me raise it for you guys here. Can you guys hear it? I think you guys can hear it, right? I'll put it all the way up. You guys should be able to hear it. However, the eyes didn't have any pupils. It was blood-colored. Right on the heels of that, another crack appeared beneath the two eyes. The two were filled with pure blood-red eyes. This allowed the black figure to finally open its mouth. It faced Bernadette as obvious sounds of pain resounded around it, as though it was resisting something. It's fucking Rizal. Oh, so Rizal is like Mr. Dora, where like when he's like half lucid and he's like non-lucid, he's like, free me, or was it leave me? A bit louder. I got you. Let's put a little bit louder. Leave this place. After being pushed out more than 10 meters away, Bernadette easily found her footing. I need to raise the volume. However, she didn't follow the voice's order by leaving the Black Emperor's mausoleum. She stood there, staring blankly at the central platform. As she looked at the black figure, her expression revealed an unspeakable sadness. Oh, it's Rizzo. She could sense and now confirm that the black figure was her father, the man who called himself Caesar Rizzo Gustav. Holy shit, it's him. In the next second, more cracks appeared on the black figure's body. They ruptured from the top to bottom, blooming blood, red flowers in different parts of his body. This made Rizal look like if he was left with a shadow that wrapped around a blood-wrapped object that emitted pure light. When Klein saw this scene above the great fog, he naturally thought of the crimson moon in the high sky. At this moment, Rizal seemed to have transformed into a shadow. He wanted to block the crimson moon, but opening the ruptured from his body, allowing more and more moonlight to shine into the real world. When these openings were connected together, the black shadow was completely split apart and gave birth to a brand new crimson moon. When that happened, something extremely terrifying would definitely happen. What? At that moment, Rizal's black figure turned much more illusory, as though it had become an illusion. This made him look like he had been isolated in another world. There was an invisible barrier between him and the real world. Then Rizal raised his right arm with great difficulty and pinched his forehead. The frequency at which blood-red cracks appeared on his body instantly decreased to a nadir. However, the eyes that had already appeared blinked repeatedly. However, this didn't bring any negative effects on the surroundings. It was as though it was just a simple change of order. The new growth of blood-red cracks was constantly being distorted to its original state of only having gradual activity. After completing this, Rizal raised his head, looked at Bernadette, who was dozens of meters away. He said with a hoarse voice, oh man, you really have become an important figure in the mysterious world. You managed to come here alone. Come over. Let me see how my little princess has grown. Bernadette's eyes reddened and she took a step forward. Rizal laughed again. Back when I made sketchbooks, textbooks, and invented all kinds of small games for you, you were just a tiny midget. Now you're able to save your poor old father. I remember that you liked the clothes I designed for you when you were young. Unfortunately, you can't wear layered dresses after you're an adult. The Emperor rambled on as if he had arrived in his twilight. Holy shit, this is good. The Emperor rambled on as if he had arrived in his twilight years and was someone who enjoyed reminiscing about the beautiful past. Bernadette walked faster and faster above the great fog. Klein frowned indiscriminately. I'm gonna lower it down just a smidge. Suddenly, Emperor Rizal lowered his head and said with great force, "Stop." His voice carried an indescribable pain. Bernadette was stunned for a moment before she slowed down and stopped. She looked at the dark figure and her eyes gradually revealed an indescribable sadness. Rizal raised his head again and coughed lightly. Didn't you really want to ask why the Black Emperor's mausoleum had to be engraved with the order of implemented and the style that one ushered? In fact, this wasn't necessary. I just wanted to let anyone who sees it remember my greatness. Before he could finish his sentence, the Emperor gripped the armrest by his side tightly. He suppressed his voice and said in extreme pain, "Don't come near me. I've been corrupted." Whoa, music out loud. Hold up. I've been corrupted. What the fuck? The sadness in Bernadette's eyes deepened. Her guess had finally been confirmed. At this moment, the red cracks on Rizal's face began to turn chaotic. They closed and opened randomly with no signs of having a unified will. The Emperor took the opportunity and straightened his body. He looked at Bernadette and shouted with great difficulty, "Seal." Oh, seal me. Seal. Oh, no, we're going to seal him? Seal. Queen Mystic Bernadette repeated the word silently. Her blue eyes quickly turned moist as a faint mist enveloped them. She doesn't want to do that. Even though she had lived for many years and was no longer the little girl that had been in the past, she was still unable to contain her emotions. However, she didn't ask for a reason, nor did she hesitate. With just a slight struggle, she firmly raised her right hand and pressed on it in the pale white metal mask. She calmly made a decision, just like how she had faced all the major events that had happened on the Element Dawn over the years. On the surface of the pale depth, the metal instantly turned soft as it reformed into a new face with two black eyes. On the surface, I just read this. In the depth of the black parts of the eye, with lines appeared, forming an extremely complicated and mysterious three-dimensional symbol. It was like a long feathered bird or a coiled feather serpent. The symbol absorbed the surroundings light and quickly turned corporeal. Then it separated from Bernadette's eyes and extended its body before flying towards Rizal Gustave on the iron black chair. Along the way, the strange symbols caused the surroundings to become increasingly dim. The floor tiles and stone walls surfaced another round of weathering as if the deity in charge of the dead had passed the final judgment. The falling rubble and flying dust followed the corporeal symbol and came to Rizal's side. Then they coiled around him, enveloping the illusionary black figure that seemed to exist in another world. During this process, Rizal failed to control himself several times. He attempted to leave the iron black chair, but ended up sitting back down. He didn't resist the seal that Bernadette had exerted on him. As the symbol fused with his figure, he immediately had a connection with pale death. He saw the illusionary deity that lorded over the countless undead in the swollen body of a water ghost loitering in a dark river. Rizal's aura immediately vanished as the cracked red openings closed one after another. So they're closing. What awaited the Emperor was a quiet and peaceful sleep. As for the symbol, it was sealed within Rizal's body, constantly influencing him until pale death stopped responding. In the blink of an eye, several blood-red cracks appeared on Rizal's body again. After his aura declined to a nadir, it gradually began to glow as if he fought back against the corporeal symbol. Klein, who was above the great fog, sighed when he saw this. He clenched his fist and pressed it against his mouth. The curtain he draped around himself suddenly rose up, and the entire Safari castle bowled over. In an obvious manner, suddenly the aura of the new life that Rizal had just obtained began to dissipate. After vanishing to a certain point, it gained a new life once again. Then it was affected by the pale death and continued to fade away. Using the power of the attendant of the mysteries beyond her characteristics and Safari Castle, Klein directly grafted new life and death and skipped the process in between. The corruption that Rizal suffered was no longer able to recover to the extent needed to break through the pale seal. Following that, Klein extended his right hand and used the power of Safari Castle to draw out the mysterious symbol behind the fool's high back chair. The mysterious symbol that made up the pupilless eyes and contorted lines. The symbol absorbed the aura of Safari Castle and quickly turned corporeal. With a wave of Klein's wrist, it entered the prayer's light representing Bernadette and landed on Rizal's black figure, fusing into his body. So the seal is fusing into his body, right? Every time the grafting vanished, this symbol was directly related to the Fool, and Safari Castle would draw upon new powers and complete the grafting process once more. As he constantly passed away and gained new life, Rizal's face, which seemed to be a pure shadow, obtained facial features. Then he looked at the top of the mausoleum as though he was looking into an infinite height. He then retracted his gaze and looked at Bernadette. He said with an abnormally weak voice, "This seal is good. I can sleep. Oh, I can sleep in peace." With that said, he frowned slightly as his tone changed. "Who taught you how to dress like this?" Bernadette felt a little lost as she listened. It was as if she had returned to her teenage years. At this time, when she had dressed up in her up to the nines for a ball held by the other nobles, Roselle would use a similar expression and a similar tone to pepper her with a series of questions. The mist in her eyes became obvious as she could no longer control herself. She lowered her voice and shouted, "Daddy." Roselle's facial features immediately turned gently before I'm about to cry. Roselle's facial features immediately turned gentle before tensing up again. He sternly said, "Leave and never return." Bernadette opened her mouth, wanting to say something, but her vision went black as though she could see the shadow of the order. In the next second, she found herself back to the edge of the primitive island. Bernadette stared blankly at the mountain peak in the middle of the primitive island for a few seconds before slowly turning around and walking towards the sea. This time, she didn't stubbornly insist on walking straight without looking back. Every few steps she took, she would stop and turn back to take a look. Soon, she returned to the dawn and entered the captain's cabin. She opened a room that was specially used to hold her collection. Roselle's the goat, man. All to protect her, man. At a glance, Bernadette saw books, stacks of textbooks, clothes, and skirts. She saw the chess game that few people in the world knew, and the neat pile of wooden block toys. She leaned against the wooden door, slowly curled up, and sat on the floor. She raised her head to look at the dark sky outside the captain's cabin and pinched her lips with her right thumb index finger. Like that. She whistled a melodious tune. It was a gentle, sweet, and sad melody that could calm people down. As the melody echoed, water beads fell down Bernadette's face and dripped onto the floor. After an unknown period of time, the captain's cabin was filled with a suppressed whimper. "Daddy." What the fuck? Wait. Oh, this is good, dude. This is good. This is good. Oh shit! I thought he was gonna like fully resurrect. So the reason the reason he's not coming back is because he's been corrupted, right? That's the main reason. That's good, dude. Holy shit! There's 40 of you guys here. I'm sorry. I randomly turned on stream today. So I'm sorry to the 40 of you guys tuning in right now in like the middle of the night, man. I apologize. This is good. He got sealed instead. Oh man, literally instead of being resurrected, they sealed him because he's corrupted. She's still her father's little girl, just like how Cat Leah is her little girl. This is sad, man. Even like she's so like not stubborn. She's so stoic and like serious all the time, and then like at that part when it comes to her father, she like, you know, she breaks and she starts whimpering, man. Damn, this damn family trauma. Roselle Gustave, the Sealed Emperor. Pfft. That's a badass title, by the way. We got 2 more chapters. Let's knock them out, man. Let's keep going. Chapter 1307. Music change again after the paper figure passed through the slowly spinning vortex. Got it. After it passes, I got you. Chapter 1307 is called Meeting. In the middle of the primitive island, the Black Emperor Mausoleum, after sending away Bernadette, Roselle didn't immediately fall into a deep sleep. He slowly raised his head and looked up once again into the infinite distance. One last look. Above the great fog climbed side suddenly, he put down the staff of stars and grabbed the paper figurine before shaking it. No, it was spinning vortex, not shaking it. I'm actually lower the volume a little bit more now, just kind of like, just because it's a little bit loud for me. With a smacking sound, the paper figurine rapidly thicked and expanded before flying into the translucent vortex? No, spinning vortex, so not yet. Oh, that was kind of hard. Translucent vortex formed from illusory mysterious symbols beside the fool's chair. Although Bernadette had already moved to the edge of the primitive island and Klein could no longer see the situation inside of the Black Emperor Mausoleum through the prayer light, however, he could use the symbol of the fool that he had merged with Roselle's figure to maintain a connection with the Emperor up to a certain extent. After the paper figurine passed through the slowly spinning vortex... Oh, right here, already. No, I don't want to hear this. No. The song instantly makes me cry, dude. All was woe instantly. Look, wow, dude. All is woe instantly makes me cry, dude. It's crazy what this music does to you. Look, I'm not even fucking kidding. It's crazy how like not only does writing like pull your heartstrings, but it's crazy how like music just like enhances it. Yeah, instant PTSD, dude. Oh, it's bad. Oh, this is so bad. Look at that. The tears, man. Instant tears. After the paper figurine passed through the slowly spinning vortex and descended into the dim mausoleum, which had an unknown light source, it then turned into a human in front of a central plane. This human's black hair and brown eyes were somewhat similar to Gurmitsborough, but he didn't have a clear-cut features. The lines weren't deep enough. I'm gonna lower the volume down a bit. Oh, man. The lines weren't deep enough and his bearings wasn't cold enough. There were also certain differences in his facial features. His chin and stomach had a small amount of fat. Oh my god, it's the real client. It's the real Zoe. Had a small amount of fat induced by an indulgent society. It was Klein's original appearance as Zoe Menguri. And the Zoe Menguri who had been hanging inside Safari Castle for thousands of years beside Roselle Huang Tao Gustav. Roselle wasn't surprised by his appearance. With one hand on the armrest, he leaned forward slightly and said, "You're here." Oh shit, this is so fucking hype. I'm here. Klein nodded indiscriminately. Oh shit. You shouldn't be here, Roselle sighed. I'm already here. Klein very naturally participated in the completing the meme populated by a popular Chinese novel. Sorry, were they memeing each other? I'm already here. Klein very naturally participated in completing the meme populated by a popular Chinese novel by Gu Long. Having completely confirmed the origins of the fellow in front of him, Roselle returned to his normal sitting posture, chuckling and said, I originally planned on asking where you're from to see that there's any need for regional discrimination, but after some thought, there's no need for that. We're all anarchinistic, miserable wretches without a home. Without waiting for Klein's reply, the Emperor's voice sank as he asked, "You know the truth about the apocalypse?" Yes. Klein nodded slightly. Rosette continued asking, "You know that this is Earth?" Yes. Klein answered frankly. When Rosette heard that, he laughed self-deprecatingly. You're actually learned about it so early. I only dared to confirm it after I went to the moon and saw the true appearance of this planet from high up. Oh, he looked down. And saw the true appearance of this planet from high above. At this point, Emperor Sidon said, the moon is bizarre. I clearly felt terror, but I didn't even consider the possibility of being corrupted. Then I became more and more extreme. However, I did occasionally gain a certain level of clarity from the views of people around me. But I didn't dare to write it in the diary in that state. I was afraid of exposing secrets and losing my final chance. I eventually decided to use all the groundwork I did previously to switch to the Black Emperor pathway. Apart from the impending apocalypse with Sequence Zeros being the only ones capable of protecting the people they wish to protect, they can hide them in order to, and other they wish to protect, they can hide them in other planets in this vast universe and use the corresponding authorities to rebuild a set of order for the humans to survive in desolate lands. I saw the hope of escaping my corruption by using the Black Emperor's ability to resurrect. As long as I become a Sequence Zero Black Emperor and was truly killed by turning half crazy, I'd have the chance of resurrecting the mausoleum or in the astral world. When that happened, what would return to me would be a pure uniqueness and the three Sequence 1 beyond characteristics. I wouldn't be tainted at all, nor will I contain an uncontrollable madness. Speaking of which, I made use of the eternal blazing sun, the god of semen machinery, to a certain extent back then. But the horror of the great old ones far exceeded my imagination. Accompanying my revival was a new life of corruption. Perhaps only great old ones can resist the great old ones. I could only terminate the revival process and live such an ignoble existence in my final mausoleum to prevent the great old ones from using my body to be born in the real world. Oh. That would have brought about a devastating disaster. Klein had long guessed Emperor Roselle's condition based on what he knew about what had just happened. He wasn't surprised at all as he calmly replied, the one who corrupted you is called the Mother Goddess of Depravity. Fucking bitch, man. She has bewitched many believers as the embodiment of the primordial moon. What a fucking bitch. I hate that bitch. Bitch, bitch, bitch. Fuck her, man. No shame, I'm gonna say it. The facial, that's a demonetized video right there. The facial features that appeared faintly on Roselle's face immediately changed. He fell silent for a few seconds before saying, I know the primordial moon, but I didn't know her true honorific name is the Mother God of Depravity. Now that I think about it, my discovery of Mr. Dor's cry for help might not have been a coincidence. Upon hearing this, Klein was alarmed. He instantly recalled the situation happening off-island. He had some sort of premonition about what Emperor Roselle was about to say. Roselle laughed and sighed. Bro's cooking. Fucking stupid bitch, dude. Oh man, the biggest problem is the first half of my life was that I was too confident. He was a little bit confident. I always had the feeling that I could reload a safe file and redo things. I didn't pay enough attention to the details. Back then, Grim was corrupted by the strange powers on the island. He returned here after dying and regained new life. Isn't this the influence of the primordial moon? After I finished all sorts of investigations and did the corresponding purifications, I felt that I was fine, but in fact, fate might have undergone a tiny change at that moment. This resulted in me encountering Mr. Door later and was slowly guided to the moon by him. You can't blame Mr. Door, his condition might be worse than mine. Does the Emperor mean that he has been targeted by the mother goddess of depravity the moment he discovered this primitive island? Klein laughed. At that time, who would have thought that the problem would be so serious? Before Sequence 2, understanding the cosmos and the great old ones led to a terrifying corruption, and without understanding it, one would have been able to accurately determine how serious the problem or what kind of patchwork was. Needing subsequently, when faced with certain situations, this made Rizzo treat this primitive island as his secret base, thus not informing existences that had the right to understand the outer deities. Great old ones and cosmos, that's right. Rizzo seemed to be very gratified that he had committed a mistake almost anyone would make. He then said, in the ancient and secretive organization, there was almost no mention of the great old ones or outer deities. Yeah, it was always fucking hidden, man. At that moment, Rizzo paused for a moment before saying, you should have read my diary. You should have known what the ancient and hidden organization represents. Klein nodded. I know which organization it is referring to. I never expected that you wouldn't dare mention that the name of his organization after having the level of a Sequence 0. I have a nagging feeling that he isn't simple. He might have an understanding of the outer deities that far exceeds our imagination, so it's better to be more careful. After all, I'm not a complete Sequence 0 true god. After Rizzo said that simple sentence, his brow suddenly frowned. How much of my diary did you read? If the atmosphere wasn't that heavy and sorrowful, Klein would definitely find it irresistible to reply with, the taste of demonness ain't bad, as a way to tease his fellow Earthling. Oh, fucking Klein, man. We should be referring to him as Zoe in this moment. I feel like in this moment they should be referred to as their Earthling names, right? Or their original names. Finally, he replied calmly, plenty. After saying the word, he casually added, I even found a few cards to blasphemy. Which ones? Rizzo blurted out. Klein controlled the paper figurine's expression from above the Grey Falk and said in the flat tone, Black Emperor, Tyrant, Red Priest, and the Fool. Phew. Rizzo exhaled as the faint creases on his brows eased. Thankfully, it's not the demoness. The moon and the mother card. You had to mention it yourself. Klein didn't respond as he looked at the Emperor without a change in expression. Oh, because Rizzo will be like looking like them, right? He's like, oh, thank God you didn't look at those yet. You had to mention it yourself. Klein didn't respond as he looked at Emperor without a change in expression. After Rizzo said that, he realized something and hurriedly coughed. Well, we've all watched live streams, so you should know very well how normal it is to cross-dress. Oh, this is so fucking funny. This is so fourth wall breaking, dude. Wow, this chapter is called Meeting. Oh, this is so fucking cool. We've all watched live streams, so you should know very well how normal it is to cross-dress. As he spoke, he coughed again and said, which pathway are you from, Seer? Klein replied succinctly. Oh, shit. Oh, man. It's such a good... I've been waiting for this fucking encounter, man. Rizzo immediately fell silent. After a few seconds, he said, unfortunately, if everything is fine and dandy, you should be responsible for pulling out a large screen television and a game console from the historical void. We can chat while playing. That's a romantic dream of us, man. Amen. Unfortunately, there's no electricity. I have to rely on you to invent it. Klein didn't voice out his thoughts. He maintained his tone and said, I hope such a day will come. Then he pulled out the topic back on track. I'm very curious why the card of blasphemy you created can't even be found by deities. Such a level of anti-divination and anti-prophecy is amazing. Rizzo immediately chuckled. It's because knowledge can bring power, and power can also bestow knowledge. This is the authority of knowledge, Emperor. After I infused the potion formula of 22 pathways with power, they naturally produce convergence powers between beyond characteristics. They also gained anti-divination and anti-prophecy effects to a certain extent. And then, wait. Fuck, I forgot music change. Bet, you're good. And then, I read one more sentence. As he spoke, Rizzo suddenly paused and thought he had sensed something amiss. Ava music? Ava music? Let's go. Let's loop this sucker. Evangelion 3.0 is an amazing movie, by the way, and you can't tell me otherwise. People that said there was too many unanswered questions, that's the point, man. You're not supposed to get all the answers, you know? It's supposed to be a mystery. After. I got hair in my mouth. After 1 or 2 seconds, he said in an ethereal voice, the creation... Oh, shit, right here. The creation of the card of blasphemy was a year before I held the Black Emperor ritual. One sec. Back then, I had already suffered the corruption of the primordial moon, and I didn't have the corresponding realization most of the time. Why can't the 22 cards not be found? Oh, shit, it's right here, Cam. It actually didn't happen. It's right here. Why can the 22 cards not be found by deities? Sorry. I was all confident that I read it. No, we just read it. Why can the 22 cards not be found by deities? Upon hearing this question above the great fog, Klein's heart tightened as he felt his scalp tingle again. Without waiting for his response from the paper figurine, Rizal's voice suddenly rasped, bringing it with an indescribable fear. Don't gather the 22 cards. Be careful of the mother card. What? Wait, why the fuck can't we gather all of them? Wait. Went against me? Wait. So, don't gather the 22 cards. Be careful of the mother card. These two sentences echoed in the deep interior of the Black Emperor Mausoleum for a long time. That's the end of the chapter. Oh, wait, the reference earlier was something common in China. Instead of... Oh. There's a translator note. I didn't know that's a thing. Something common in China. Instead of being, they look down on people from. Yeah, that's a strong footnote. I didn't know that was a thing. I did not know that was a thing. They look down on different regions. Okay, the more you know. Are you guys ready for the last chapter for today? Chapter 1308 is called Goodbye. Above the gray fog, Klein's pupils instantly widened as he subconsciously looked down at the long model table in front of him. There were 4 cards of blasphemy with different patterns on the back. At that moment, he felt a little scared and relieved. He felt as though he had been wandering about the edge of the abyss while blindfolded, but he never fell. I should raise the volume up a bit. One second. You guys can't hear the music. Yes, sponsored by Cuttlefish. If he had done his best to gather all the cards of blasphemy, or had obtained the mother card with the way how he'd like to put the different cards in his body to obtain the corresponding levels and special characteristics, he might have already been corrupted by the mother goddess of depravity, or be pregnant with something. Ugh. However, I'm not Rizal. Even if I have the mother card, I probably wouldn't have done so. Furthermore, in order to prevent the deities from finding it, cards of blasphemy are extremely difficult to gather. It's almost impossible to gather all of them. From the looks of it, this is the casual arrangement made by the mother goddess of depravity. If anyone were to unfortunately obtain the mother card, they would have become one of the latent dangers in this world. Klein retracted his gaze and continued using his stats. Why the fuck would Roselle make it if it's that dangerous? Klein retracted his gaze. That sounds a little too scary. Klein retracted his gaze and continued using his stand-in paper figurine substitute to look at Rizal Gustav, who was sitting on the black iron seat. At this moment, Rizal raised his body slightly. His voice was sometimes low and sometimes high-pitched. Everything has godhood in them because he was already corrupted. Oh, yeah, you're right, duh. He was already corrupted. No shit, he make it. Sorry. A little too naive here. The oldest one is still alive in everyone's bodies. Klein frowned slightly. He didn't know if anyone speaking was Rizal or the crimson moon in his body. Oh, yeah, you're right. He said he made them after the ritual. He was already corrupted by that point. Yeah, okay. He didn't know if anyone speaking was Rizal or the crimson moon in his body. Not only did he have a certain level of understanding regarding such secrets, he had also personally experienced it before. Thus, he wasn't horrified or panicked. He only recalled the teachings of the Aurora Order he had seen in the past. They promoted the belief that the Creator was omnipresent and existed in every living being's body. Therefore, all living beings had godhood. Once godhood reached a certain connection, they could become an angel, and the current Orthodox deities are nothing more than slightly stronger angels. To ordinary people, as long as one was able to grasp the essence of life, was a spiritual travel, and tempered one's mind, strengthened one's spirit, and find their own godhood, as well as fuse with more godhood. One would be able to escape their mortal coils and become an angel. Back then, I felt that a cult like the Aurora Order had a complete set of mysticism and religious canon, just like the Orthodox churches, but now I can interrupt the truth underlying these words. From a certain point of view, it's true that the only problem is that after fusing with more godhood, they might no longer be themselves. The true Creator actually placed the deepest secrets of this world into his teachings. Isn't he afraid that a believer might suddenly have an epiphany and learn of the underground corruption, eventually becoming a vessel of the oldest one's revival? 50 fucking people here, man. I didn't even announce stream today. Holy shit, man. Thank you, guys. I am so sorry if it's the middle of the night for you guys. This hanged man really is a little crazy. He doesn't have much rationality most of the time. Klein mumbled indolently as he waited for Rizal to say more. 2 to 3 seconds later, Rizal, who had been in a cycle of slumber and obtaining of new life, sat back in his iron black chair throne. He panted and didn't say a word. Klein then controlled the paper figurine to say which of the words that you have just said should be trusted and which one should I be warier of. Rizal chortled, consider the answer yourself. Oh, he doesn't even know. Huh, isn't that how you seers like to speak? He's speaking like a seer now. He didn't wait for Klein to reply as he continued. When I created the pale death mask, I sensed something. The death of the fourth epoch might have not been completely perished. He might have left a hidden trump card for being revived. It might have involved the river of the eternal darkness. Huh. Death will definitely not die so easily. With that said, Rizal looked at Klein, who stood at the foot of the platform. Indeed, only by choosing the seer, apprentice, or marauder pathway can a transmigrator enter Sephira Castle. By the time I figured out this factor, it was already way too late. I don't know if you want to become a great old one or not, nor do I know if this requires a ritual. I can only tell you that this is definitely more dangerous than becoming a deity. No shit. Countless times more dangerous. Perhaps the existence who stored us and threw us back into the real world is waiting for you there. Oh shit. Like, maybe like the one that did this whole thing with them is waiting for us to become a great old one. Changes him back after hearing his answer. The only suggestion I can give you is to communicate with the genie of the magic wishing lamp before you make any attempts. Genie, using the grudge between him and the celestial worthy to obtain a certain assistance. Klein nodded slightly and said, okay. After hearing his answer, Rizal, we can go back. So we go back. After hearing his answer, Rizal sighed and said with a smile, if you really can become a great old one, we can consider saving him? Shut up. After hearing his answer, Rizal sighed and said with a smile, if you really can become a great old one, you can consider saving me. Only a great old one can resist a great old one. Oh man, this has to be book 2, please, bro. At this point, he fell silent for a moment before he slowed down his speech. If you can't completely free me from the corruption of the primordial moon after becoming a great old one, then remember to wipe my existence off the face of the world. Destroy this mausoleum, support the creation of a new Black Emperor, and prevent me from ever being revived. What the fuck, dude? Oh, I'm about to cry. I hope that doesn't happen. The light inside... Oh, I'm already crying. The light inside the mausoleum seemed to dim a little. Klein fell silent for 2 seconds before saying, I won't... Oh, shit, man. I won't forget that. There's no shot Klein... There's no fucking shot Klein dies after making this promise to Rizal. I fucking refuse to believe Klein dies at the end of the book 1, and then book 2 is a different main character because of that. I fucking refuse to believe that. There's no shot he dies after this promise. I won't forget that. Rizal fell silent. After a few seconds, he laughed self-deprecatingly. Of course, before that, you should try to save me a few more times. His fucking humor, dude. Even like when it's this bleak, he's fucking funny. Of course, before that, you should try to save me a few more times. Such a sense of humor didn't make Klein smile. Instead, it made his heart sink even more, making him unable to speak. Oh, look, do you guys see that one tear? Look at that. One tear. Just one tear falling down my eye right here.
Such a sense of humor didn't make Klein smile. Instead, it made his heart sink even more, making him unable to speak. Rizal didn't continue the topic as he recalled. My wife passed away a long time ago. The mistresses I once had definitely had their own endings. Towards them, I feel very sorry. I've never truly loved them. I only coveted their looks and their pleasure they gave me. I don't have any illegitimate children. Towards such matters, the Beyonder is quite aware of that. As for the time before I became a Beyonder, I believe those ladies definitely coveted my looks and body to enjoy just pleasures. They won't leave any trouble for themselves. My eldest son, Seal, should be dead for years. I don't know how many descendants he left behind. My second son, Bornova, will definitely be an angel now if nothing unexpected happens. I have complicated feelings for him. On the one hand, I'm very detached, disappointed, and resentful, but on the other hand, I would occasionally secretly care about him. I remember how adorable he was when he was just born. Oh man, what the fuck, dude? Damn. Lord of the Mysteries fucking hits. When it hits, dude. You've already met my oldest daughter, Bernadette. Isn't she beautiful? She was pretty from a young age, obedient and smart. She knew how to filial to her older father, protect her younger brothers, and dote on her mother. Sometimes she acted especially righteousness and appeared a little silly. There were several times when I secretly cheated while playing chess or games with her, but she didn't realize it. Such a temper made it difficult for her to accept what I did later. Of course, now I can just push the blame onto the primordial moon. It's all because of her corruption. I'm rather grateful for her on this point. I don't know what right I have to make a request. After all, I've never helped you before, nor do I have such a relationship with you. It's just that we're from the same area and the same place, the ties as a fellow earthling. Upon hearing that, Klein said in a deep voice, your diary gave me plenty of help. It allowed me to grasp a lot of high-level knowledge when I was weak, allowing me to avoid many dangers and know how to direct my efforts in a targeted matter. Also, those cards of blasphemy have shown their use at different stages. Can you not mention the diary? Rizzo coughed lightly and said, however, in the later stages, I was indeed consciously leaving a message to the next transmigrator. The only thing I could be sure of which is which language you know. The Emperor Rizzo exulted before saying, my request is to help me look after my request is to help me look after Bernadette. When she needs help, provide her some help. Also, she is about to become an important figure in the mysterious world. I can't feel at ease as a father. Without any hesitation, Klein got the paper figurine to answer directly. I'll take care of her for you. Man, why does this sound a little awkward? Rizzo's tone instantly turned odd. By the way, I haven't asked for your name. As for me, you know very well that I'm Huang Tao. Zoe Minguri, Klein answered frankly. Are you married? Do you have any children? How old are you? Rizzo raised 3 questions in one go. Emperor, why are you acting like a gossipy middle-aged woman from next door? Klein shook his head and gave a simple answer, no. Rizal remained silent. After a moment, he said, you and I are of the same generation. Bernadette should call you Uncle Zoe. Oh, man. Yes. As he spoke, Rizal's tone suddenly became filled with pity. After coming to this era, I treated everything as a game in the beginning. I was having a great time playing, but I would occasionally recall my home, remembering the past where I cultivated most of my personality and hobbies. The longer I live, the higher the frequency I felt this feeling. It's like the fallen leaves will always want to return to the roots of the tree. However, at the very least, I have a daughter, a wife, and 2 sons. There are still many things in this world, that I'm worried about, at some sense of belonging to a certain extent. As for you, I can feel your loneliness, the loneliness that comes from deep within your bones. Upon saying that, Rizal suddenly sighed. If only we were still living in that era. Oh, dude, I'm getting goosebumps, dude. If only we were still living in that era. I'll go to work punctually every day and work overtime from time to time. Whenever I'm free, I'll visit my daughter's extracurricular lessons, pick her up, bring her home, stuff my wife constantly reminding me about. Every weekend we'll either head out for some fun or head to my parents' place to accompany them. When one day I'm exhausted from life, I'll use an excuse that you as my friend are treating me. As men, we can sit by the street and eat some skewers, drinking some alcohol, brag, curse our superiors, reminisce about the days of our youth, and urge you to quickly find a girlfriend. When I wake up the next day, I'll be able to have the zeal to continue facing life again. Damn, I didn't think this was gonna be such a heavy fucking chapter. Klein listened quietly without interrupting the Emperor's prattle. Rizal's voice gradually lowered as he smiled. Goodbye. Oh, fuck. Goodbye, my friend. I hope we can really... Oh, I fucking hope we can really meet again one day, dude. Oh, fuck you. You don't make these promises and you don't fulfill it, dude. This has to be some book 2 shit, man. This has to be some COI. You know, like this needs to resolve. No shot this goes unanswered. I hope we can really meet again one day. His figure quickly turned illusionary, as though he had disappeared from the world, leaving only a faint shadow hovering over the iron black throne. Roselle Gustave had returned to his eternal slumber. Oh, I'm crying. I'm fucking crying, dude. I'm fucking crying. Damn. That was a good fucking arc. That was a fucking good arc, dude. Holy shit. I didn't think I was gonna cry. One of the best chapters. That was a fucking good chapter, dude. I thought that whole interaction was gonna happen differently, man. I genuinely, somehow my head created this fucking fanfic thing where like Roselle would return, right? Corrupted. But like rather than being the protagonist, he'd be like the antagonist. Which he technically would have if he came back as an old one, right? But that didn't happen. He got sealed. So that the interaction became like so sad and depressing, dude. Now you know why we told you not to cut this arc. Now, yeah. Thank you guys for making me not cut this arc. Holy shit. Oh, that was a good arc, man. I feel like maybe we could have cut it halfway, like by 04, before we really found out who the Black Shadow was. I feel like by Seal it'd be too late. I feel like at 05, I think at 4 it would have been a good stopping point, maybe, and I can I can think about what the Black Shadow is or isn't. But what a good chapter, man. What a fucking good arc. That was a damn good encounter. Fucking Roselle told Klein, like, my friend, or was it, told my daughter to call you Uncle Zoe? And he's like, we're from the same era. Oh man, this shit fucking had me crying. The way he said, like, in another time, what was it? I'll be able to have the zeal to continue facing life again. What a fucking good series, man. But it wouldn't this art, dude. Yeah, it wouldn't hit this art. It definitely wouldn't hit this art. Oh man, what a fucking good series, man. LOTM fucking slaps, man. It is such a good fucking series. I can't believe this is only like 70 chapters, bro. and then we're at chapter 1308, my guys. How many fucking books have we read? Did you understand that he said she called him Uncle Zoe so he doesn't try to date her? Well, he was laughing, right? He said, like, in a weird way, like, no, what was it? He said, I want you to look after her. But it's like, wait, that's kind of weird. And he's like, yeah, make her call you Uncle Zoe. You need a whole case for all the books? Yeah, definitely. I think what I'll low-key probably do, I'll probably have to remove, I don't know. I'm gonna look into it. I need to buy, like, dude, there's no space right here. It's hard. The only thing I can think of is if I get a different camera that lets me zoom out more, I can get like those ceiling shelves or those floating shelves and put them on top of this window over here. And then I can just like display them all. Not gonna lie, I also tagged Wiz for a while when Easy stopped streaming. Romero did it too and Wiz got pissed. Wait, what happened? Wait, what happened? Imagine, Wiz, is Wiz here? Imagine having the Emperor of Intis, the Black Emperor, as your day and the Fool as your uncle. Did that at the stream earlier too. Wait, what did he do? Wait, I don't know what I missed. Wait, hold up. Was there any artwork? Please tell me. There's an artwork. No, he used to ping Wiz to speak to the streamer. The pinging Wiz. Accidentally tag Wiz instead of Easy. Oh, that's funny. There's some. Bro, you guys gotta send it to me. I need to see artwork of them interacting, man. Artwork in Discord. Holy shit. I'm not gonna lie, man. The thumbnail is gonna be a little... The thumbnails ain't gonna be good for non-anime, for anime only people or for Dunghole only people. But I think we're gonna be okay. Oh man, this is good. We're gonna pick the thumbnails is gonna be from something here. I'll try and pick something that isn't too spoilery, but I'll try and pick something that's not that spoilery. But like, there's no way I can't pick one of these, bro. Like, come on. Well, like, bro, fuck. Holy shit. I want to use this so badly. I want to use the first thing I see. This is so beautiful. The first one. This is already. I've only looked at this one, and this is already my favorite one. Oh shit! Are those like the black tentacles that come out of Klein? What a fucking good arc, man. Oh, this is beautiful. Do one of the moon one with a table, but crop out Rizzo. I ain't even gonna lie, man. I don't think people will even know that's Rizzo. This might just look like some other random dude with a crown. You know, in volume 2, Klein had a... When he used the Black Ember card, he had a crown. He had a black crown. People might not know. Technically. We would know. We know it's obvious, right? But like for someone that's Dunquo only or book 1 only, it's a black crown though. And see, they don't know it's Rizal though. I'm like trying to justify it right now. Hold up. Oh man. Kind of unrelated, but why not do a gaming stream? I would recommend Dispatch. Oh, dude, Adam, don't worry, man. I've been wanting to do gaming streams for like... I've been wanting to do gaming streams for like the better part of like 6 months. No, don't worry. You're here. Don't worry. Once we're done reading book 1, I will be gaming a little bit more frequently in between like our manhwa read-throughs and all that. Yeah. No, don't worry. We'll be gaming. We'll be gaming. Yeah, when it's like really late and like I need to rest my voice or something, yeah, we'll be gaming. Yeah, dude, I have such a big backlog. Dude, I take my Switch 2 or my Legion Go with me, man. Whenever I go out, I got like a 30-minute break or like an hour of free time. Like, I'll just take it on. I literally game on the go now. Oh, it's such a good artwork. Wow, it's actually really good. I'm not gonna lie right now. This one is really good, but I might use this one. I might use that one, dude. I might use that one. Rizal and Bernadette. Oh, man. Oh, this is so fucking beautiful. How about Kragan? Oh, man. I want Dispatch, people. Give me Dispatch. Oh, man, I'm crying. Oh, was it? Leave and never come back? No, don't use resist bullseye. Resist the temptation. Do not fall into the abyss. Do not use the COI quotes. Just yet. Not yet, brother. Stay strong, brother. This is my friend. This is beautiful, man. Oh, she's holding the flower. I'm crying. What a good series. What a fucking good series, man. What a fucking badass, man. Man, it's crazy. You know, I wouldn't even mind if book 3 was just like a flashback on Rizal. I think that'd be sick as fuck. I would love that. Wow, there's a lot of artwork. The Emperor. He's such a badass, dude. He's so fucking cool. Oh, he had blue eyes. Oh, Bernadette has his eyes. Bernadette also had blue eyes, right? Or is it green? What a fucking Chad. I don't even have to say it and people already know what I'm gonna say. People know what you want to say. Life is the circle of inevitability. Did I figure it out? Damn, what a badass. Wow. I'm sorry, is he on a pony? I feel like I'm watching the Chainsaw Man Rize opening. At one point, fucking Denji is riding on a unicorn like this on one of the little carnival rides. Oh shit, I just rewatched the movie last night too. When the circle is inevitable. Ooh, is that the quote? When the circle is inevitable. Some would say life is but a circle of inevitability. You know what I'm trying to say. Can't even read anymore. Oh shit, man. Oh, I like this drawing. I actually like this drawing more because it's drawn in like, was it pencil or pen? I think I like it because it looks more rough. The way it's kind of drawn. This looks fucking cool. At least when I draw, my drawings are always kind of like rough sketches like this. I gotta show you guys my art book one day. I got a fat ass art book of just drawings I've done since I was a kid. Not the stupid meme everyone spammed into white chapters when they release daily. Life when the inevitable is circling. When the circle is inevitable. That was a meme. Oh man, I'm not gonna lie. I think right now I'm using that first one, man. I think I gotta use that first one. I think I'm gonna use that first one. So it's only gonna be like one slightly spoilery thumbnail out of like our 200 plus videos. Maybe. Oh, this is good. I fucking love this series, man. It's crazy. Oh, is that his wife and Bernadette? Damn. Damn, man. Bro, imagine praying to your dad for your allowance. We crying for Rizzo, but Klein is also so alone like Rizzo. It's sad, but like, here's the thing. It's like Klein, I think Klein is in a worse state than Rizzo. Like, at least Rizzo, he got that life, right? Like, he got that life that he never had back home. Like, he had a family, he had a wife, he had kids. Yes, he resented some, right? But like, he still loved. He was still loved. He got married and had a family, right? Like, he lived his life, right? Even though he had a tragic ending, like, he lived his life. Klein is still in like the process of all this, right? Like, Klein is literally still in his early years. For all we know, man. Wow. Klein gets this. Man, oh shit. What the fuck? What if... Oh, wait. Have I mentioned this before? Whoa, I don't even remember. I think I have said it. What if, like... Oh, the MC from COI is, fucking, like, Klein's child or something. Oh, that'd be badass. I'll take that. I'll take it. Oh, that better be it. I don't even remember. I'm pretty sure we said it was a woman. I remember that much. Wow. Wow. I'm sorry, is this a symbol of steaming machinery? The inevitability is circling and the circle is inevitable. Not the Boruto treatment. No. Boruto, but better. And I'm not saying Boruto is bad for people who like Boruto. It's not my cup of tea. I binged like 60 episodes in like 2 days. Well, I watched the first 60 episodes like without back to back when it came out. So I've watched Boruto. I was a huge Naruto stan, if you can see by my shelf. I was a huge Naruto stan. So when I say Boruto's not my cup of tea, I'm not dissing. I'm not dissing. Just not my cup of tea. But it'd be like Boruto, but better. Yeah, save and pathway symbol. Oh, it was a save and pathway symbol. Damn, man. Oh, this is such a cool ass crown. What the fuck? Damn, there's so much artwork, man. Damn. This one? This one could work. I think this artwork could work. God, it's beautiful. It's fucking beautiful, man. Such a fucking good series. Oh, this is sweet. Is that Rizal holding a fucking cat? Is that supposed to be Klein as like a black cat? Because people say he has like a cat form. Or Klein. Oh, this is cool. Fucking Roselle. What a Giga Chad. That's Gurman. Oh, I see the glasses. Oh, I thought this was like a tattoo or something. Ah, I see the glasses. That's the Gurman Sparrow glasses. I see it. That's the Gurman Sparrow glasses. Good catch, man. I didn't even notice that. What a good series, man. Holy shit. This is a damn goated series. Oh shit, look at the moon. The moon card? This was Rizal. He's like, thank God you didn't look at this card yet. Oh, that's so funny. Welcome to Dairy Crazy. Oh shit, it came out. I need to watch it. Yeah, when I saw It Part 2, I was like, oh, it'd be so cool if we get like a prequel movie. Oh, like when It first got here, and then they fucking made a show called Welcome to Dairy. The mother, is that Rizzo? Look at fucking Rizzo, dude. My man's having the time of his life, dude. Fucking Klein. And then Klein was like, we've all seen live streams. Cross-dressing is normal. Oh, you guys, I remember seeing this one, the Demoness one. Jesus, dude. Yo, Roselle was having fun doing these cards, man. Roselle was having the time of his life doing all this artwork. Oh shit, higher quality version. It's like there's no shot I don't. Oh, where's Emperor Roselle? It was the one up there. I ain't gonna lie. There's no shot I don't use it, even after we get the high res quality. I have to use it. And look, this is so concealed in a way we don't even know it's Earth. So even if people watch this, they're not even gonna say, "Oh, that's Earth." Some people probably won't even realize that's Roselle because you don't see his face. You see a crown, yes, but for all we know, and we don't even know this is Klein because people wouldn't even know about the tentacles. Yes, you also have to think about it that way. We don't even know. This one got 2 spoilers, including one for you. You haven't noticed yet. I probably shouldn't look too hard then, right? Oh, okay. This one has something I don't notice. Okay, I'm gonna take like a little peek. I might take a little peek. Roselle, a smash in every card. he's a Chad in every card. He's a Giga Chad. Oh, was this your confrontation? Oh, that was Klein from the beginning with a gun. Wow. Don't think about it easy. No, okay. We won't look at it. All right. Peek promise. I won't look at it. All right, we'll just use it and not look at it. Damn. And also, even if it's a black crown, for people watching the anime, they wouldn't even know. People wouldn't even know the significance of a black crown. Like, oh, Black Emperor pathway. Like, they wouldn't even know that yet. They wouldn't even know that. And then they probably wouldn't even know that's Klein. Yeah, they won't even know. Okay, I'll stop looking, though. I'll stop looking. We'll stop looking too much. Yeah, my bad on that. Thought the ones sent to Wiz were already screened for spoilers. No, it's okay, love. I mean, I don't see spoilers. Now, the only thing I could theory craft, these look like curtains. And I remember, technically you already know, but not confirmed. Okay, so this is what I'm saying. I see these little curtains, right? So half spoiler. That's okay. Look, all I see is this. I see these curtains, and it reminds me of episode 1 with like the red curtain veil or whatever. When you hear the bell with Klein, right? So I'm over here thinking maybe like the guy that's planning all this is just watching them. But who knows? I'm zooming in. Let me look at the little specks of dot. Okay. Nope, I don't see shit. I'll stop looking. All right, I think that's it. Sorry if it's a lot. There's a lot of peak art for the moment results, so I forwarded most of them sent to us. No, love, man, you're good, bro. You're good, bro. It's good, man. That was such a fucking good series, man. All right, man. I'm gonna let all you beautiful people go. Tomorrow, I have to do a few things during my free time. I have to do a few errands. But I think after I'm done with my errands, I'll be good. Yeah, I think I'll be good. Fuck, man. There's 80 chapters now. Holy guacamole. That is badass as fuck. Elotim is coming to an end. Don't forget, hey, guys. Don't forget about me, okay? Who's starting tomorrow? Tomorrow a new streamer starts on YouTube, by the way. Who's starting? A new streamer? Who's a new streamer? Oh, yeah. I edited the message of the chapter ranges so that you know which ones definitely need to be announced before starting stream. I fucking love it. Yeah, just so we avoid this again. Not only do I have the chapter ranges, you also gotta announce these. It's over this month for sure. The one we saw last time on Twitch. Oh, yeah, I remember her. Almost done with Otin, but CY is still here. Is it the Twitch streamer? Okay, Cammy, thank you. Yeah, I remember her. Yeah, I remember. I think I followed her on TikTok. Yeah, I followed her on TikTok, and then I uploaded like 2 TikToks. No, okay, so now, not only do we now have chapter ranges, But we also have the parts where I need to announce streams. Asked Wiz to tell her how to set the thing, but she doesn't have anything other than TikTok. Got it. 24-hour stream announcement. I'll try to tune in if she's starting tomorrow. I mean, from now on, pretty much everything is important. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I was thinking about it. So, long story short, announce everything from now on. When you beating Omega Yo Unhinged? That breaks my heart. I will get to it one day. I was mad, man. Hold it, before I let you guys go. Fucking Saturday morning. My Saturday mornings. This is my Saturday morning routine. Wake up. Me and Ellie will go out for a little walk. After a little walk, she'll take. I'll do this. I'll lay back. I'll play video games. I have a fat ass cup of coffee. I'll play video games. I played 2 hours the Omega Savage fight in Monster Hunter Wilds. Didn't even clear it. I got to the final phase like 3 times out of those 2 hours. I was fucking losing control. I rage quit. Easy gonna finish all of 10 before beating that boss. You know what? Yeah, it's probably gonna happen, Void. well, we'll see what happens, man. All right, you guys have an amazing, beautiful day. Love you all, and I'll see you guys all really, really soon. Peace out.